What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Mets Weekly. We have a lot to discuss and to debate about today. This is episode 34, if you guys are keeping track. But who are these people on the screen? Let's get right into it. Let's start with the man who has been missing in action recently, Elias from Big Apple Banter Media.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? I'm back. I'm really glad to make it. I caught a case of Sandy 21, the Sandy Alderson virus, and was sick from work today, so I could make it to the stream. So that's great, I guess. But you can check out my channel, Big Apple Banter Media. I've been kind of quiet, but hopefully going to get uploads going up there soon. Off season, a lot of breaking news stuff, a lot of reactions, news predictions, mock off season. You can see that, and some Jet stuff too. Try to get that up there. So yeah, Big Apple Banter Media, much appreciated. Check out the channel.
All right, Mets Talk with Hayden.
What's going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden is the name, raging is the game. Hope we're all doing well. Yeah, if you guys want to check me out, that'd be very appreciated as always. Doing live streams, videos on news, updates, predictions, Q&As, all that great stuff. Otherwise, we got a couple stressful next couple of weeks. It's been kind of a lot going on in the Mets, but more from the executive point. And, of course, free agency. We'll be getting a lot of news these next couple of days. So it's going to be something. LFGM.
All right, Frank About Sports.
Yep, Frank About Sports, as you see on the screen, made a video over the weekend about the Mets offseason preview, just looking at some free agents, what guys stand out. Because some different approaches that the Mets could take with free agency, because there are a good amount of players out there, but as free agency is unfolding, as the offseason is going along, there's going to be a lot of videos coming with hopefully a lot of good, smart moves that the Mets make. Hopefully not a lot of rage videos, but thank you for having me, and let's get into it.
All right, and Tony Metro, last but not least.
What's up, guys? Tony Metro. I have been slacking the last 2 weeks. I apologize for that, but the offseason is my favorite time as a YouTuber because I love the rumors and making predictions and then breaking news and analyzing trades. Way more fun to me than like during the season when it's just kind of like talking about actual results of games. So hopefully going to be getting back on this grind here. Check out the channel and appreciate you guys being here and having me.
All right. Well, now to refresh, we are streaming tonight's episode on Frank About Sports channel and Tony Metro's channel right now. So make sure to go pop into all those chats, drum up the conversation. We love talking to viewers. And also make sure to share the stream as well. We don't say that enough.
Smash that like
each
button.
person, smash the like button. If each person brings in a friend, this conversation doubles because of math. So there you go. Also subscribe to all 6 of us, even though there's 5 of us on the screen. Turn on notifications. Follow us all on Twitter. I think I've covered it all. But yeah, here we go. With that being said, Mets Weekly number 34. Let's go.
This is Frank Cugino from Frank About Sports.
What's going on, guys? Andrew Acevedo back.
What's going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden is the name.
What is going on, everybody? This is Mets fan from YouTube.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Tony Metro.
Big Apple Banter Media here with Elias. That's weekly.
Mets Weekly.
Mets Weekly.
Mets Weekly.
Mets Weekly.
Welcome to Mets Weekly.
Oh, that's awesome. That was my first time seeing it.
Is it first time seeing that live? Nice. Yeah.
Wow, dude, that's sick, dude.
I think I'd like
we're
to
going-
record my intro if that's possible, but otherwise.
Oh, I can. I have it all fixed up. If y'all want to fix it up,
man.
I got you.
That's awesome.
So yeah, let's just dive into the top story in Metsland. We might finally have an executive, folks. I mean, that's crazy. Isn't that nuts? Adam Cromie, I hope I'm saying that name right. If I'm not, that'd be pretty embarrassing, has emerged as a top candidate for the Mets general manager position. This was a guy who was with the Nationals up until 2017. But recently he's been practicing law, I guess, around Chris Christie. I don't know. But other than that, he's known for building up the Nationals scouting and analytics department. And Nationals GM Mike Rizzo made it clear yesterday that Cromie attacked every task that they gave him. And that's in a good way to save Frank About Sports a panic attack from last night. Now, there's also been some rumors about another Nationals former executive, Sam Mondry Cohen, coming over to the Mets along with Cromie. So nothing is set in stone right now. But the main question here is, out of what you guys are seeing, research or not, does this seem like a good hire for the Mets? We will start with Frank About Sports.
It's really hard to say without actually giving the guy a chance, but I will say on the surface, my immediate reaction is no, it's not a good hire. And we'll probably get into the other reasons in other topics, but the one that stands out the most is just the fact that the guy's been out of the game. That concerns me a little bit because here's a guy who, you know what, he's in the Nationals front office, he's doing good stuff, whether it's analytics or scouting or whatever else Rizzo was giving him to do. And all of a sudden he says, you know what, not really feeling being assistant GM anymore. I'm going to go do some law stuff for a few years. And it just seems like the Mets have gotten desperate to this point. And, like, can you really blame them? Because everyone else and their mother and their dog and all their relatives have all said no to them. So they're just, like, poking around like, you know what, let's go to a guy who at some point in his life was in a front office and no, they're not going to get denied permission from him, or he's not going to say, I want to stay in the organization I'm in. You're going to try to pull him away from his job he's doing with law. And one of the concerns I have is that if this guy left the Nationals front office to go do, lawyer stuff, how do I know that he's not going to do that again? Because we know that, let's say the Mets suck again, which is very possible, and he does not like the way he's being treated, whether it's by the media, by us, or by whoever else. He's not liking the job. He says, you know what, forget this. I'm going back to law. And then the Mets are all, back to square one once again looking for a guy. So it seems very weird to me. I feel like if this was a guy that was such a good executive, I feel like teams would maybe have him in their front office and, try to pry him away from his law agency. And I just think it really shows that the Mets are desperate and they're just trying to get anybody, so that it's not law Mets. But to me, it still is a pretty law Mets move if they do it.
Oh, I know that phrase pretty well. Elias Cromie, what do you think about him?
Yeah, so I be honest, I haven't done too many research on like the recent candidates, just because every candidate you get 5 minutes later, there's a report that he's out. But Frank, thanks for doing a great job summing it up for me. I know he's been out of the game for a few years, and that does it right there for me. Absolutely no. If you know anything about me, especially when it comes to managers and stuff, if you've been out of the league for a while, I have no interest in going straight to a higher position. Like, if you take a manager who hasn't been coaching in a few years, make him the manager immediately. I think you need to work your way up in a little bit. So the same thing with this guy. And, the Nationals aren't a poorly run team. I mean, they did just win a World Series, but you don't think of elite front offices when you think of the Nationals. So I'm really all set on this guy. The thing of him exactly like being in law for a bit and now coming back, but he could leave again. That just, I want a long-term guy. Can we get a guy who was going to be here more than 2 years? Like, please.
All right. Mets talk with Hayden. What do you think about Cromie here?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much for the most part, the information on him is pretty vague. There's not a whole lot about him. Pretty much like Frank and Elias pretty much pointed out, he was with the Nationals. He was the assistant GM over there, right?
Yeah, assistant GM.
Yeah. I know he's been out of Major League Baseball for, 4 or 5 years now. And listen, I understand he definitely could learn his way back. My problem with it is just the game has evolved so much in 5 years, whether it's analytics or the approach of the game or let the kids play, that type of stuff. The game has evolved very much. He's middle-aged. I'm not saying he's too old or he's super young, so he can definitely fit back in. There's guys out there, regardless of their age, who are able to slither in and play fine. Look at Tony La Russa. He was out of baseball for a little bit. He came back. Is he necessarily the best person to be comparing him to? No. But pretty much he's been out of the game for a while. He's a lawyer. So you like the approach that a lawyer would have as a GM. He would sound very persuasive. When they talked about how his interview went well, he's a guy who's going to sound very persuasive and probably get a lot of things favorable to him because he knows how to talk. So is that good necessarily? I think it depends on what you're getting. If Cromie, however you pronounce his name, is a guy who's going to get good guys, it's great. But I don't really know. Just the information is vague about him, and he's been out of the game for a while. And it's the Nationals assistant GM. So, I mean, I don't know. How much could he take out of it?
All right, Tony, what do you think about this man who they're thinking about here?
Yeah, on the surface, it doesn't sound great. I think a lot of us are thinking, really, we want to get a guy that's been out of baseball for 4 years practicing law now. But after doing a little bit deeper of a dive into this, it turns out that this Chromie guy was suggested by a headhunting agency named Corn Ferry, who I guess Steve Cohen and the Mets employed. Now, this group has actually been involved in bringing in multiple hires for colleges, but also at the professional level in the NBA, in the NFL, even in the MLB. They brought Torey Lovello into Arizona as well as their general manager. One name you're not going to love, Elias, plug your ears, is former Jets GM John Idzik.
Oh God, yeah.
But put that aside, I feel a lot better knowing that this is coming from an agency that's going to check all the boxes as far as there is a diversity check that every team has to do in the hiring process. This guy apparently has got some level of expertise. Otherwise, I don't see why he would have been suggested by this firm. So we all don't want to go through another Sandy or Porter or Zach Scott or Mickey Callaway situation. I'm feeling a lot better after hearing that this group, which again is named Corn Ferry, spelled with a K, is, and you guys could look them up on Google. They've been a part of a lot of hires throughout all the major sports in North America. So I'm feeling a little bit better about that. And, I guess we'll just find out.
I mean, I've talked about this before and about the analytics and the scouting being like only a piece to building a successful front office for an organization. And that's and if that is what they want to do to start at the GM position, I'm fine with it, because there's still an oversight over that role to kind of branch out to other areas. And we know that what the Nationals were able to do before they blew it up, and they were perennial playoff contenders. They were destroying us at that point, and they won it all in 2019. Now, I'm just here thinking it would be nice if the Mets can, steal somebody from the Nationals just once. I mean, they already have our former coaching staff pretty much like locked up there. So, I mean, why not? Yeah, exactly. And then they got Bonas too, right? Ricky Bonas as well. So
I think they have a couple other guys that either were Met or also Met coaches on the staff besides those guys. I think they have Eric Young as one of the coaches, maybe.
Eric Young. Jeez. Oh my God. All I want them to do is to try something new. And this looks new to me. Let's just hope that he didn't touch any children. He didn't deal any cocaine to politicians in DC. Let's just hope that there's no ESPN story about this guy. That's all.
No financial crimes, nothing.
No release it the day he gets hired.
Yeah. There is one thing about being new, because if you remember when the Mets originally got Brodie Van Wagenen, everyone said, "Oh, that's new. That's out of the box. Getting an agent to be the GM." And the reason why Brodie got that job is because he interviewed really well. He's another guy who is a sweet talker. He's a guy that could persuade you on anything. And I'm just afraid that Cohen and Sandy might be falling for the same thing. That he may interview really good. Adam sounds good, but then when he actually is running the team, he's like, does he even know all these players? Has he been keeping up with how everyone is performing? Has he been watching the Mets a lot? I doubt it. So I mean, it's going to be a lot for him to do. And then, we have the lockout coming. So you have a lot of time to prepare, a lot of time to think and kind of get adjusted, because with this lockout coming, you got to be ready to make moves, know who you want, and make those moves.
Yeah, I think how it is a little bit different between Brodie is just because I don't think you're going to have that fear of him bringing in guys that he's represented. And those types of guys are proven players, but they just don't have anything to contribute to a team that's trying to contend for a title. Unless we have Chris Christie catching behind the plate, I don't really see that being kind of a Brodie Van Wagenen deal. And I just hope he doesn't talk as much as Brodie, so then it won't be Brodie. That was about it. The whole come and get us crap.
Come and get us.
Yeah, it's enough.
And by the way, I believe the connection between Chris Christie and the law firm that Cromie is working for is fully coincidental. I don't think that there's any, reasoning that, he was hand selected or anything or suggested by Christie, from my understanding and from what reporters have tweeted. So we don't have to worry about that nonsense.
Oh, man, boy, I freaking hope so. Okay. So with that information, it seems like the Mets are unlikely to hire a president of baseball operations this year. Now, recent rumors from sources have suggested that the Mets' number one choice for this job is still David Stearns. Now, we never really got a clear answer when the Brewers decided to just void the permission for us to interview him. So it seems like the Mets are still betting on possibly getting him for next year. But the pieces really do need to fall in place when you're talking about that. And that's extremely hard for this organization to execute 90% of the time. So does it make sense with no presidential hire, shall we say, the Mets to wait out on David Stern? Does it make sense for them to do that? We'll start with Tony Metro.
I am not a believer in hiring someone just to hire someone. I mean, we don't want Sandy having the reins, but at the same time, I don't want to get ourselves locked in with a guy like Brody Van Wagenen again and see him do damage to the farm system or future payroll flexibility. So, all things considered, I mean, Sandy's probably not the worst thing in the world. He's obviously not our first choice. I think from what I read today, David Stearns has kind of made it clear he's very happy in Milwaukee, and it's not only a matter of the Brewers blocking him, but it doesn't sound like he wants to come here. So it's kind of like you just keep waiting on that one girl to finally say she wants to date you, but she doesn't want to. So let's not do any collateral damage by hiring a guy that's not right for the job, or, maybe unfortunately at this point in the game, the best thing to do is just to stand pat and just roll the dice right now with Sandy and hope next year things open up a little bit better for them.
Hayden, should the Mets wait out for Stearns?
Yeah, obviously, David Stearns, he most likely has, another year or two on his contract left. So pretty much what it would sound like if the Mets are to go after him, and I have no problem with that. It just comes to now or in another year or two. Well, in another year or two, a lot can happen. And what we have seen is the last 5 years, the Mets have had 5 managers. The last 12 months, we're about to have 3 GMs. So that means we're going to be talking about another person to run the president of baseball operations position. Pretty much what it sounded like is that when Cohen first came to the Mets, he wanted to have one president of baseball operation and one GM for the year. Obviously, he didn't know that this drinking and sexual nonsense crap was going to happen. And I don't blame him for that. No one could assume that would happen. Listen, you got to be smart with this stuff. I get it. But it comes to the point is, do you really want to bounce to another GM or possibly 2 until you can get a guy like David Stearns? And I really just hate to see the Mets, throw away, so much talent just to go after another, what's a saying for a guy just to stay in, for a short-term guy? The Mets
placeholder.
Placeholder, yeah. I'm tired of the Mets seeing a placeholder short-term guy. Go after a guy and stay with him for 5 years. And listen, I really hate to see the Mets just go after someone because they need to, but there's also another position that needs to be addressed, the manager position. That hasn't even been spoken about really since the season ended. So the fact is that we have so many issues going on with the Mets. I just don't even know which one you approach. They said, forget the president of baseball operations, go after the GM role. And honestly, I think you have to agree with that right now, because at least you have someone to run the position. I mean, right now, Sandy Alderson is running the Mets 75%. If the season were to start right now, he'd be your president of ops, your GM, and your manager, pretty much. So, honestly, if you want to wait for him, go ahead. But you're just going to be getting these placeholders in the meantime, and it's not going to get anything resolved. And what do you think it's going to do to these players by having to constantly change the agenda, whether it's in the field, in the clubhouse? What do you think it's going to do to them? And a lot of these guys are not going to like the contracts that are given to them. And that's the big thing with Sandy Alderson right now. And I've been saying it on my streams is that a lot of these guys, that Sandy Alston gives a contract to. Can the Mets even extend Javier Baez right now? Because there is no president of baseball operations. So it's just super frustrating. It really is.
Yeah, the only thing I have, yeah, the only thing I have about this whole thing is that I don't think it's going to be kind of a replacement type of thing. I do think that if they were to bring in Stearns, it will be with the same guys that they hired this year. It's just they're going to add that type of, they're just going to switch out Stearns with Sandy. That's their plan. That's basically what they're trying to do. So, Frank About Sports, should they wait out for Stearns? Doesn't make sense.
They shouldn't. I understand their line of thinking. You want to go for the big guy in David Stearns because he's one of those big names we talked about, whether it was Epstein or Billy Beane or whatever. David Stearns was the other guy. We talk about those big three as far as executives go. Now, I have a few issues with this. Number one, his contract situation. The fact that nobody knows, is it a year? Is it 2 years? Is it up to the Brewers when his contract is up? Is it up to Stearns when his contract is up? That's not good because let's say it is 2 years. So that's 2 more years you're going without a president of baseball operations. That means 2 more years where Sandy also is probably going to have to do way more than he signed on for, and should be doing. And also, I just don't like that. Again, it makes the Mets look desperate. It's an embarrassing look where, you know what, we had this whole same situation last year. Couldn't get president of baseball operations, so you go with the GM of Jared Porter and Zach Scott. We know how that went. But still, the Mets failed in that search last year. So you say, okay, but we have another chance at it this year. We should learn from our mistakes last year, and it shouldn't be as bad this year. Well, this year it's been even worse. They literally can't get anybody to take the job. That's why they're asking a lawyer to come be the freaking GM. And I just think that it's a bad look for them as it's to the sake that, like, you're having a tough time getting someone to fill the GM role now. I think it just got 100% tougher because Sandy Alston's press conference said, oh, well, you know what? This GM is a great opportunity for somebody because if they prove themselves, they could become, the next big guy. They could elevate in the organization. But if I'm Cromie or if I'm someone that the Mets are vetting and, they're talking to, I'm like, what's the point of me even taking this job? Because I'm not the first choice. David Stearns is the first choice. If David Stearns becomes available, then what about, like, I'm useless. I just go down the totem pole. I go down to the bottom. So I think that's a bad look. And also, you cannot put all your eggs in one basket going for one person because, again, if it's 2 years or 1 year, a lot could happen in a year or two, especially with the Mets. So let's say that David Stearns is kind of on the fence. Do I want to be at the Mets right now? Do I not want to be at the Mets right now? And the Mets aren't playing well. And let's say Milwaukee is playing well because Milwaukee's had sustained success, which the Mets still have not found. Why would David Stearns even leave Milwaukee to come here? That just makes no sense. Like, so let's say David Stearns is another guy that says, don't want to come to the Mets. Then what do you do? Because if we're in this same situation again next year, the year after that, it just continues to be more and more embarrassing. And like Hayden said, like, I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. All of us feel ill right now, and I think it has to be because of the Mets, because none of us, talk to each other face to face. So how else do all of us get sick at the same time?
21.
Yeah, exactly. So I just don't think that, I understand what they're going for. It sounds appealing. It sounds attractive, but it is so risky. And I think that it hurts himself now, and a lot could happen in a year or two. We know that, especially with the Mets. So I don't think it's worth the risk. I really wish they could, like we said, find your own guy. Don't try to get the big name. Find someone, mold them, teach them, and have them become maybe not the next David Stearns, but just a good executive. Because, again, it's like you're going to have an even harder time trying to fill this GM role because they said, maybe not just Cromie, but there are other candidates out there. I think this just gave all those candidates like a bit of a sour taste in their mouth. Like, what's the point? Why am I even taking this job? Maybe there's a better opportunity somewhere where actually could be the top guy, and they're not just so focused on Stearns. Like Hayden said, I'm a placeholder. I just think it's a very bad look for them.
Okay. Well, Elias, should they wait out for Stearns? Does it make sense for them to wait out for next year?
No, absolutely not. I'm tired of, oh man, we'll get a guy next year. Like last offseason was, can't get a president. We'll just get the GM this year and get someone next year. Like, I don't think this has been talked about enough, but we just had an opportunity at a top 5 manager in baseball, and we couldn't get him because we don't have our shit together. I mean, Bob Melvin went to the damn Padres. We could have had a shot. I mean, it's not guaranteed, but I think we could have had a legitimate shot at him if we had our shit together. So again, there's nothing wrong with plan B. Like, for example, last year with the Jets, their offseason. Oh, we missed out on the big offensive lineman free agent. Oh, the world is falling apart. We draft a guy, he's been great. Like, that was our plan B, if you'd say. Plan B is fine. There's plenty of qualified candidates out of there. You don't have to risk a whole year, another offseason of great players that you could potentially miss out on because we don't have our shit together. It's just David Stearns is great. When his name was first brought up, I didn't understand. I'm like, why the hell would he come here? He's got a great team over Milwaukee, 3 stud pitchers all under team control. I think for a while they're not getting paid a ton. They're not, I think they're arbitration, but they're young pitchers to say the least. Like, why would he come here? He's building a great team over there. So, again, the risk is way too high. There's no guarantee. If he came out and said, oh yeah, I'll be a Met next year, then yeah, but there's no guarantee there. And there's plenty of qualified candidates out there. The only problem is we can't get any of them right now because we just literally can't get our shit together.
Yeah, I don't think it makes sense for them to wait out on Stearns. But I do believe that this was the initial plan. Sandy would come in here on his 2-year deal. Jared Porter and Zach Scott would be evaluated to maybe take Sandy's place. And then the Mets would seek a Stearns or a Burns or an Arnold for 2023 to replace Sandy and develop that kind of front office of great baseball minds. That obviously didn't go to plan. We kind of caught the Wilpon virus once again.
Yeah, and that plan sounds awesome, but it's not the most realistic thing in the world.
Absolutely,
like, it sounds like a plan,
absolutely.
But then you got guys getting these charges, all this controversies and stuff, and guys don't want to come here.
The only way I see Stearns coming over next year is showing that you have some sort of competence, and don't make the decision even worse. And I completely believe in the Cohen era until I see it. I need to see it. I'm giving him his 3 to 5 years, but just don't make it worse. That's all I ask. Just don't make it worse. And holding out for a guy like this, I mean, taking that, it's a big risk. I know there's a lot of things about Cohen taking a lot of risks and going out on this and big spending in this, but you're dealing with a very fragile state right now. This is a comedic hologram, as I like to say, known as the Mets. So this is like you're dealing with you're fighting with fire, right? You're playing with fire. So be very careful. Now, speaking of making things worse, let's not do this. All right. Now, a source a few days ago talked about Scott not liking how the Mets treated him after his DUI. To that we say, boo freaking who, don't drink and drive. But there was something that was also brought to attention that Sandy was reportedly in favor of considering bringing back Scott. Now, apparently Cohen did not want that and he cut him loose. And to add another piece of that information, there is a screenshot of Steve Cohen liking this tweet about Sandy, and I'm going to pull it up on here. I guess it's about something with someone getting hired, but he said, what makes him think that those two were ever going to consider coming to the Mets? So Sandy has to put on his big boy pants and fill in the role again that he doesn't want to be in. LOL. Okay.
And so, Cohen liked this?
And Cohen liked that tweet. Now,
of course he did.
These are all assumptions. We're not confirming anything that it's true or not. But could Cohen and Alderson maybe not be on the same page here? Is there something that we're just not realizing? Is there something that we don't know? Is it possible? I'm going to start with Hayden. Is it possible that maybe Cohen and Alderson aren't on the same page? Is there a possible firestorm waiting to happen?
Well, yeah, clearly there's some agenda that's really not going well. Honestly, I don't even know what it is. So far, I mean, Sandy, I think most of us know by now that Cohen pretty much used Sandy to just gain favoritism through the owners. And I don't really know if that's going to backfire on him. We know that there were some talks that the owners were not starting to like him because they pretty much did that. But as of right now, I honestly think that I don't even know if they're on the same page. And honestly, I just don't even know where to start. Cohen brought in Sandy so he can gain favoritism. Now it's been a year. Why is he not out? And I mean, I don't really think Cohen is much of a choice. You're going to fire Sandy. Well, who's running the Mets? You? I mean, is Pete Alonso going to be the president of baseball operations? I mean, you can't fire him now. So I just don't think the Mets executive office took the right approach on who to fire first, who to go after. I mean, listen, they didn't know that Zach Scott was going to be a fool, so you can't necessarily blame all that. But clearly they're not on the same agenda. And it just really sucks. It really does.
Okay. Frank, is it possible that Steve and Sandy are not on the same page here?
No, is it possible? I think that is the case. I do believe they're not on the same page. And no two people are going to agree on everything. I mean, everybody is different, and not everyone's going to have the same exact opinions about every single thing involving baseball, whether that's players or approach or whatever else is going on in the business of the sport. But I do think that there definitely could be something going on there, the way that they handle this, especially when it comes to, I think in that report, they were talking about Steve Cohen wanted to get rid of Zach Scott for the press, for how it would look for the team. And I think that's something that is going to be really important because we talked about Sandy Alderson, at least I have talked about it a lot, but his history of bringing in guys that have, sexual harassment claims. And that, Sandy Alderson will say, oh, well, you know what? Not every sexual harassment claim has to guys be fired, okay? And he gets very defensive. And I see Sandy also do that, like the way he handles the media and the way he gets defensive about that. So I could see them having different approaches. Sandy Alderson's been in the game for a long time, obviously. Steve Cohen is brand new to baseball. Obviously, he's been a fan, but as far as being really in the nitty-gritty, this is new for Steve. And we know that Sandy Alderson's approach is, I was with the Oakland Athletics where I had to be very smart of how I spend my money. I have to be very efficient with who I get, the kind of players I look at, what I value in the players, because I know I got to do it at a small payroll. And that carried over to the Wilpons. So now he takes over with this new owner who says, you know what, do what you have to do, even if it means spending a lot of money. So these are now different things that Sandy Alderson is having to navigate. Sandy Alderson never had to worry about, is this move going to bring me to the luxury tax? Because in Oakland, he wasn't close to the luxury tax. With the Mets, he's not going to the luxury tax. You knew it. But with the Mets, it's this is a thing that could happen. So whether it was their handling of how do they pursue Trevor Bauer, how do they pursue George Springer, all these things, it's hard to agree when you have guys with two different philosophies, two different experiences. So I do think that that's possible. But like Hayden said, until you get somebody and maybe a few somebodies, not just the analytics department, but the actual front office, whether it is a president of baseball operations, a GM, an assistant GM, whoever, Sandy has to stay because, like we said, the Mets literally have nobody else. But I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, if the Mets can eventually get somebody, I do believe that Sandy Alderson is gone, and it'll be mutual for both of them. I think that Sandy's kind of done at this point. We know he didn't sign off this, and he has to continue to do more, and he doesn't want to deal with the press anymore, and I can't blame him. So I think Sandy wants out. I think Cohen wants, to get someone new and just really get this thing started because the first year was very rough. I mean, they did not achieve on any of the goals that they really set out to do. So there's still a lot of work if they do want to get that World Series sometime soon and build, like Cohen said, that sustained winner, that long-term success being the Dodgers. They have such a long way to go before they're the Dodgers.
Absolutely. Elias, is it possible that Sandy and Steve are not on the same page here?
Yeah, I think it's correct that they're not on the same page. I think from the start, I thought it was kind of an awkward fit. You got kind of a money ball guy in Sandy Alderson, who's Oakland A's, Wilpon, very cheap and whatnot. You got Steve Cohen coming in with all the money. And that, just because you have money doesn't mean you're willing to spend it all. But, the way he talked, he was willing to spend that money. It was always, an awkward fit. Hayden mentioned it. It was a lot of it was leverage over the owners, get Cohen accepted from the other owners, which obviously smart move. I think the 2-year plan wasn't the right idea. I thought the 1 year, bring the guys in and then dip or take a smaller role would work. At this point, I think Sandy Alderson, it's confusing because he says he doesn't want to do all these roles, but then he ends up doing them And maybe it's because guys they're trying to hire don't want to work with Sandy Alderson. It's really confusing. I just think, I've been calling for Sandy to be fired for a while now. I think that's what got me blocked by Marcus Stroman. But that's besides the point. I think it's an awkward fit. You can't fire him now because who the hell is going to run the Mets? Just like Hayden said, we got nobody. But I'm just praying they find someone soon and just someone who's a right fit at this point. It's a disaster right now. And Cohen liking tweets does not make it any better. The Twitter thing was fun at first, but at this point, I think it's time. He hangs it up.
Tony, is it possible that these guys are on different wavelengths here?
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of a strife growing between the two. I think that we've learned a lot about Steve Cohen here in his first year of ownership. He's a very vindictive person, I think. And I mean, he's obviously is very savvy. You don't make $16 billion by accident. I am just thinking he's getting impatient. He's getting to the point where it's like, shit or get off the pot, Sandy. Like, figure this out. I brought you in because I don't know baseball. I'm a fan. I bought this team as a steward of the Mets for the Mets fan. And this is why I brought you in. So, I just, it's hard to really, for me to figure out if other teams weren't giving permission to the Mets because Steve Cohen can flex his money and they don't want to be the team that gives one of these, competent baseball executives to the Mets and, turns them into winners. Or if, the whole Sandy Alderson and his son being involved in the front office is the issue. I really don't know. And I don't think any Mets fan truly knows. I don't think any reporter truly knows. It's just a mess. And, the great thing, though, and to make it even more confusing is I just refreshed my Twitter feed. Sandy Alderson says the luxury tax is not going to be an impediment for the Mets spending this offseason. So it's like, are they on the same page? Because they can't seem to figure out this front office thing. But at the same time, Sandy has permission and it sounds like is willing to spend money galore this offseason, which of course we know Steve Cohen wants to do. So I don't even know. It's a mess.
Yeah, I'm really not one to take Twitter seriously at all. That's why I'm on it so much. I mean, so, he may be trolling, thought it was funny, showed it to Sandy before Sandy went to go take his nap. I mean, we don't know at all. Now, we always expect the worst with this team, but, I don't know. We'll see if this does escalate. We don't really know. This is all speculation. It's all rumors right now. Cohen has done these jaw-dropping trolling things on Twitter before in the last year. As of right now, for this story, for all the young children watching, don't believe everything that you see on the internet. And also don't believe Andy Martino because that guy's fucking nuts. All right. So let's move on to some free agency talk. Now, Michael Conforto has reportedly rejected the Mets qualifying offer, officially making him a free agent. Now, we definitely saw this one coming, even though it did make sense for him to take it. But given who he's represented by, it was definitely unlikely. So now, speaking of the guy that represents him, Scott Boras at the GM meetings yesterday, he talked about Conforto's free agency and his 2021 season. And I'm going to pull up the clip of him talking, and I'm going to pray for no copyright, but I doubt I'm going to get copyright. So here we go.
I do not own this video, YouTube.
Yeah, we don't own this video. We don't own the video.
Parody or commentary. I think that's fair use. Exactly. I think that counts.
All right, so we're gonna play this one
for educational purposes.
Yeah, they're usually just strict when it comes to music and stuff. I think you should be good.
Yeah. All right.
What's your optimism getting a significant deal with him, and do you think the Mets will be in play for him?
Conforto's kind of been the king of diamonds.
The king of diamonds.
Little League World Series. College World Series. And, and as a Met, he's been an all-star. He's been a pennant winner. He was huge in the World Series. He's become the king of Queens. And kind of in free agency now, he's kind of like the ace of many GMs' hearts. And certainly we've seen from the interest level that everybody's understanding that, the COVID issue and what he had the first few months of the season. And I think everybody understands who really Michael is and what he means both in leadership to teams. And frankly, the interest level has been extraordinary.
Do you think he wants to be back with the Mets, though? Is that where his heart is?
I think that he's a free agent, and when players become free agents, they know where they've been. They're getting an opportunity to understand where they can go, and then they have to make that decision.
All right, so there's Scott Boras on Michael Conforto's free agency. Now, after hearing that, should the Mets buy what Boras is selling? Should the Mets believe that the COVID came into play? We all know his real value. He's the king of Queens. All right, maybe not that statement, but and should they be willing to offer him a multi-year deal in that sense? I'm going to start with Mets Talk with Hayden. What do you think about Boras?
Well, we all know I love heckling his clients. Yeah, Scott Boras is a really tough guy. Like I pretty much say on all my streams and whenever I'm on this channel, is that Scott Boras, listen, he really is a tough guy. He's a pain to deal with, but you got to respect him. I mean, a lot of these big players have Scott Boras as a free agent. Andrew, Strasburg, Harper, even dating back to the ages of A-Rod. Scott Boras is a huge guy. Now even Chris Bryant is using him. Trevor Bauer is even going to use him during that time. So Scott Boras, he's a tough guy, but he fights for his guys and tries to lean his guys towards the free agent route. Obviously, Michael Conforto, should we, look into Michael Conforto? I know that is a whole other topic, whether he's streaky, whether he had a tough season. Conforto pretty much had one of the worst times to have a slump. Listen, Conforto has had his fair share of slumps, but this was probably his worst slump in his tenure with the Mets. I mean, it pretty much lasted the whole season. Maybe he had a week, or more so maybe a series or two where he got hot, but he was pretty much ice cold for the big season. He was hitting, but he couldn't hit the opposite way. And, unless MLB is going to ban the shift, then Conforto is in a little bit of a predicament. He can hit for the other way. We saw this season, and he can hit for the opposite field. We saw it so much in 2020. So unless MLB's not going to ban the shift, then he can't hit 300-400. Defensively, he did take a little dive. I did notice the outs above average was a little bit below. The defensive run save. So his defense definitely did take a little bit of a dive, but nothing too concerning. Calling him the king of Queens, I mean, I don't really think your MVP puts up that slash line. Doesn't really seem up to par. To my knowledge, but should we really put interest in Michael Conforto? I don't know. Easily, I mean, it's a rough patch, but I could easily see him going to just a division rival and just easily being, a 2 hitter, 35 home runs, 100 RBIs. But, this is what the Mets are going to have to deal with. And I really question, if you gave this guy the extension, what was it, 2020 or whenever the past offseason, would he have had a slump? And I mean, if he did, that would have went terrible. I mean, Mets fans would have been killing the Mets. I mean, you have Lindor and Conforto both slumping after getting huge contracts. I mean, the fact that, Boras thinks Conforto can get $200 million, I'm sure he can. I just don't think it's going to be the Mets now. And, it sucks because, Conforto, he was crying. He was hysterical during his last game at Citi Field saying, I love the fans. I love the city. I love Flushing. Great, superb, love it. Okay, so take the 1 year, $18.4 million, and show the fans, give them the middle finger, and say, "Ha, I can do it." I mean, unless he can't, and he's not, and he doesn't seem to be wanting to do that. So, good luck, Conforto.
All right, Frank about sports. Should the Mets buy into Boras's pitch about Conforto being the king of queens.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, Scott Boras is always right. So I mean, why wouldn't you just believe what he says? And Mike Conforto is the king of queens. Yeah, of course. That's why everybody wants to get rid of him. So I mean, why would you want to get rid of the king? I mean, that just maybe we want to overthrow the king. What kind of society is this? But I do think that it was obviously a strange year for Michael. Really looking at the numbers, the old man numbers, so to speak. Other than 2020, he's never been a huge batting average guy. I mean, even in 2018, 2019, his average wasn't 280. It wasn't 290. It was 250, 240. This year was 230. Even the OPS numbers were way better other years. His on-base percentage was similar this year to good years. The problem was the power. I mean, he was just not hitting home runs. We've seen Conforto have 30 home run seasons, but this year, what do you have, around 13 homers? And it wasn't like the power wasn't there per se in his body, because he did have some no doubters. Like, he could still hit the ball a long way. It was all just a matter of consistency. So I can't really say that because of COVID, Michael Conforto didn't have power anymore, because again, like he still had the power. He just didn't have the consistency. So I really can't use that as an excuse. Nowadays, the past couple of years, a lot of players, no matter what the sport is, have dealt with COVID. A lot of them have come back, some better than others. If it was such a problem, I mean, you should even have been playing. If you're going to be that much of a liability, if you really feel like I can't perform, I'm going to hurt the team, if it's that bad, you probably shouldn't be playing. But, he decided to play because he had to, since he did not the Mets offered him an extension in the offseason of 2020 and in spring training. The Mets did offer him a contract. I fully believe that. And he said, no, I want to show that I'm better. I want to prove more money. And the Mets said, okay, go ahead. Then he has this kind of year. They say, all right, you know what? You had a bad year. We're still going to give you the qualifying offer, $18.4 million. You could have that. No, I'm better than that. So it's like, okay, well, you know what? We've given you chances, and you're crying. You want to stay with the Mets, but we're giving you these opportunities, yet you don't take it. You're being greedy and really holding out for a lot of money. So you know what? If some other team wants to give him $200 million, by all means, go ahead. Because as we've said before on this show, the Mets are not one player away from being the team that they need to be. So let's say the Mets do bring back Marcus Stroman. They do bring back Javier Baez. That's going to cost a ton of money to do that. Then if you want to give Michael Conforto $200 million, now it's really a lot of money, and you have the same team you did of 2021, and the team was not good. So it's like, do I give $200 million to Conforto, or do I get a bunch of players, because this team needs a bunch of help in a lot of different areas, and just go that approach? And you know what? Michael Conforto might have to be the odd man out. It's unfortunate. You know what? Obviously, he's a homegrown guy. I'm sure Sandy's going to try his best to keep him, but it's like the Mets have given him chances, and the fact that he's declined the offers, not so much his performance, but just like the offers that they give him, he keeps rejecting it. We try. I mean, that's the way I look at it. You could stay. We've given you a chance, and Mets going to probably offer him another contract. Whether it's 5 years, 6 years, whatever the numbers are, they're going to offer him another contract. And if he says no to that, it's like, what more can you do? Sorry, it's unfortunate.
All right. God. All right. Tony, should the Mets buy into Boras's pitch for Price is Right here?
What Scott Boras said. Am I allowed to swear on this stream?
I don't care.
We already kind of did, so
Yeah.
We need the
I broke that rule a few times. Yeah.
Bullshit. Okay. Like,
yes,
this guy is a lawyer. That is his job, to lie, to make his client look good. He said the same thing about Chris Bryant, who actually had a good year. He said something about he gets red hot in the hunt for October and this and that. And then meanwhile, the Giants came out today and said they weren't really satisfied with his play in the field or the slump that he had at the plate. This is what Scott Boras is supposed to do. I don't blame him, and I fully expect him to talk the way he does. This is how he's always been. But I'm not willing to go over my budget to bring Michael Conforto back solely because he's homegrown, or solely because of the fear that he may go to another team and become the guy we all want him to be. He was not the guy we thought he was going to be. A lot of us thought, okay, 300 hitter. All right, that didn't really pan out, but you would settle for 270 or 260 if he was hitting 30 home runs consistently every year. That obviously was not the case this year. 2017, he had the shoulder injury after a raging hot start. 2018 was bad. 2019 had a good second half, bad first half. I know you don't like the narrative of him being inconsistent Mets fan, but that's how I view him, and I know that's how a lot of other Mets fans view him. And as far as the whole COVID thing goes, I don't want to disparage the fact that he might have been under the weather, not feeling himself for a while. I know those can have lingering effects. It was 2 weeks before they reported for spring training. I mean, come on. You're telling me that led to a 4-month slump? I'm not buying that crap. And for me, bottom line, I'll give Conforto 5 years, $105 million. I'll add an extra $5 million in there. That's the most I'd do, but not if it's going to inhibit the Mets from getting a guy like Baez or Correa or Chris Bryant or signing another starting pitcher like Marcus Stroman, who we really need back. I can't let the possibility that Conforto may finally live up to the expectations if it's going to prevent us from improving in other areas.
Yeah, I mean, if I would not have really a job in the matter of all 6 of us if you guys didn't hate Conforto. So it's like that's the thing. Like I'm all for it. Go ahead, because then my job would be too easy. I need a challenge.
Let me ask you that deal I just said, and it kind of came to the top.
I think that's an overpay.
5 years, 105. I know he wouldn't, but would you do that for Conforto?
That's 21 AAV.
5 years, 105. That's 21 million. That's pretty much like at his projected AAV right now. So yes, I would take that.
Why wouldn't he take that? Yes. I mean,
because
I'm pretty sure he's at like 23 to 26 million in that kind of range with the AAV, like from that type of thing. Well, I don't know.
You should be like Tim Duncan. Take a discount, help the team. If Conforto wants to go to the Mets, take a discount.
Boras also said that he believes that just because of this season that he's still going to get the money that he probably would have after the 2020 shortened season. That's bullshit. Again, get out of here. Are you kidding me? Like, if he put up the numbers this year that he did in 2020 in the shortened season, and you extrapolated them over 162 games or however many, I mean, yes, 200 million, absolutely. But he didn't. And he's proven time and time again he's good for a 40-30 game stretch, but then he might be really, really bad for 2 months.
Yikes. Okay. Elias, should they buy into Boras?
No. I mean, he's doing his job. He's an agent. This is his job. Hype the guys up as much as he can. The King of New York shit is bullshit. Jacob deGrom exists. I mean, whoever's the best player, there's one team in Queens. So whoever's the best Met, they're the king of Queens all of a sudden. No, that's bullshit. The COVID thing, it's interesting. You could say, yeah, Freddie Freeman caught COVID. It was really bad, won an MVP. Other guys, have been affected by it worse than others. So I don't want to talk too much about that. I think with Conforto, we were hyping him up so much for 2021 because he showed so much improvement in 2020 that it's like, hey, you put this through a 162, it'd be great. But at the end of the day, anyone can have a great 60 game stretch. Look at the Padres from 2021. Every player had a good 60 game stretch, and the team fell apart the next year. Everyone regressed. Again, what else did he say? The whole multi-year deal, like I think 18 million a year for approve it is freaking good coming off a brutal year, and you're not going to take that. And just like Frank said, he's been offered contracts in the past. I think what's interesting is you could have maybe all these other teams don't see him the way that a lot of Mets fans see him. Maybe you get like a Mike Moustakas situation where he rejects the Royals qualifying offer and comes back for even less because no one else is wanting to give him that huge deal. I don't think that's going to happen. But at the end of the day, I think Conforto is too inconsistent. I don't hate Conforto. I hate Conforto fans who try to hype him up and tell me how he's this irreplaceable player. I got freaking Zariz out of all people to join the dark side and tell me that he's replaceable. So shout out to him for that. But at the end of the day, Conforto, you can bring him back, cool. But I guarantee you, Conforto fans would not be hyping this guy up as much if he wasn't a Met. Like, let's be honest here.
Okay. All right, Andrew. I know you got a lot to say here, because we had a pre-conference about this topic.
Just a little bit. All right.
Yeah.
Let's start with not the shithead number 2. We'll call him shithead number 2, Mr. Scott Boras. Again, it's what his job is supposed to do. He's going to overhype his client to get the biggest payday, and this just reeks of Jackie Bradley Jr. 2.0. And he has the same kind of accolades as a Jackie Bradley, except with a Gold Glove, he's got one All-Star game. He says, "Oh, that All-Star game. Oh, you've been one-time All-Star." But yet he's going to want more than George Springer. He got
an All-Star game.
Well, yeah, exactly. But he's going to want more than George Springer.
He also was a sympathy All-Star because the Mets suck, so they need a representative.
Exactly. But then when
God, seriously,
who's the dude on the Tigers last year? Got the All-Star game.
His mic runs away.
Yeah, again, it was a bad year, 2017. After besides the point. But again, he's going to want
our All-Star, Jose Reyes.
Oh Lord,
he probably wasn't even on the team at that point.
That was two. Yeah, that would have been
Pete Alonso being the All-Star from now on. That copacetic with me. I mean,
well, no, we have Jacob deGrom for our pity point. That'll be our only representative. Besides the point, he's going to want more money than George Springer. That's what his benchmark is, because that was the top outfield candidate last year. He's going to want to top George Springer 5 years, $150 million, if I remember correctly. So you're telling me a guy who has one All-Star game when George Springer has 6 is World Series MVP, one of the most clutch postseason performers in the game, and consistently averages 30 homers, 100 RBI, OPS always around 850, batting average is always pretty decent. Plays a more valuable position in center field, and will shift to the corner in a few years. And Michael Conforto is going to get more money than him. Okay. Again, I think me and Mets fan are the only people that kind of want him back on this team. But again, like I said a couple weeks ago, there was a price for Michael Conforto. And again, like I said, this could be a Jackie Bradley Jr. situation where it's like, oh, Boras is like, you got plenty of offers. Same thing with Jackie Bradley Jr., right? You had the Astros, you had the Phillies, and the Brewers came out of nowhere and signed him a week before spring training. And guess what, boys? Lockouts in 2 weeks? So now you can sit on the back burner for 2 months, 3 months. Deal doesn't get done. Conforto can wait, and God knows when spring training is going to start. If it starts in May, everybody's going to rush. You can get him cheaper then. So Boras is just doing his job, and he's going to overrate his candidate, try to get him the most money. But when it backfires and he signs a 1-year, $12 million deal with the Kansas City Royals, I'm going to sit back and laugh.
Imagine.
Okay. Well, I mean, going off of what Boras said, I think I've had a strong feeling in the last 24 hours that maybe I wrote the transcript for what he said yesterday. But like for the most part, like let's be real for a second, all right? Let's let me piss some people off here.
Oh no.
He's kind of spitting facts here. Let's be real. Okay? Let's okay?
No.
All right. The King of Queens, that's Luis Guillorme. All right. That Boras is a weirdo. Okay. Like, whatever. Okay. Listen.
It's Wilfredo Tovar. He's been here for a hot minute.
Yeah. Listen. COVID is COVID. All right. It can fuck you up. All right. COVID can fuck you up. I have plenty of sources of evidence. I've never had it, but I have plenty of sources of evidence from people that I know that have had it. You can also add the 2 months of hamstring injuries. Then towards the end, he kind of looked like himself, but he still wasn't himself. Listen, we know exactly what type of player he is, whether any of y'all want to admit it or not, that I'm a genius. If they don't offer something to Michael Conforto, the Mets are going to regret it. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's it. That's your bottom line right there. Cry me a river and drown in it. All right.
Yeah, but I'm not saying offer him nothing. And yeah, we do know what player he is. The player that has a huge 2 months and then goes cold the rest of the year.
That's incorrect, but you can keep trying.
Dude, now I don't care about his advanced analytics or whatnot. Just watching the games, how many times is just, double play, strikeout, and then a month later.
Are you keeping track of that? Are you keeping track of that?
Dude,
Are
get
you
that
keeping
feeling
track
his
of that?
when
Are
you're
you
watching the
tallying
game.
the double
His
plays that
batting
he
average,
hits
keeping
into?
track of it.
Yes,
Are you
yes,
tallying
Frank.
that?
And we do it for McCann too. We do both.
Yes. We logged
I
it.
do that with GIFs.
McCann's got an all-star game. Does that make him a good player?
Yeah, same accolades as Conforto. So, again, McCann at 40 million is a steal.
Exactly. Completely. That is absolutely wonderful logic. That's exactly what I want to carry out from this stream. That's exactly what I want to tell everybody. Hey guys, if they have the same accolades and the same MLB The Show card, they're worth the same. Okay. Now, more free agency.
Spin facts right there, Carson.
Let's talk about another free agent known as Chris Bryant. Now, it has been said that the Mets are reportedly going to take another shot at Chris Bryant in free agency. Now, we have talked about Correa as an upgrade at third base. Seems a little unlikely at this point. We've talked about Matt Chapman trade, selling low, all those pros and cons. But should the Mets make Chris Bryant a priority in free agency? When you go down the line, should he be one of those priorities? Is this a good fit? I'm going to start with the almighty GM himself, Andrew Acevedo. Is this a good fit?
Yeah, and it'll replace the guy we just talked about. If you want to fix the problems from last year's team, what was one of the biggest issues? They can't hit left-handed pitching. What does Chris Bryant do pretty damn well? Hit left-handed pitching. You're going to get worse defensively because Conforto's a pretty good defender out there. Bryant's probably, hopefully, average out there. I don't really care. We need, again, the production of driving in runs and hitting left-handed pitches. That's what Chris Bryant does. And, yes, he had a pretty rough second half ever since he kind of put a Giants jersey on. Never wasn't the same guy in the first half. But, again, he still killed lefties. Even with the Giants, he's still producing against left-handed pitching, and that's one of the big issues with the Mets. Is you got to fill the hole. You have to fix the problems with this team, and Bryant can be a part of fixing the problem. Again, he's probably going to be Springer type contract, but he should be a priority either at third base for this year and then potentially moving him to right field, or having him right field from the jump and maybe you sign another third baseman. Because you got a guy coming. So and he has the positional flexibility. God, can I talk sometimes? Where he can move to left, he can move to right. If Pete gets hurt, you can move him to first. He played shortstop, for the Cubs before he was traded. So if Lindor, Baez, Guillorme go hurt, put Chris Bryant at shortstop. So he gives you some more positional flexibility. He should be one of the top priorities for the Mets.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Frank, should Bryant be a priority here in free agency?
He's not my top priority. I've said that before. My guys who I really would focus on first, but I can see him doing good things, like Andrew said. And the versatility one is the biggest because if you're going to get Chris Bryant, it's not for just 2022. It's for, if it's a 6-year contract, 7-year contract, whatever it is. Like I said with David Stearns, a lot is going to happen over that time span of 6 years, 7 years. Like I always say, you don't know who's going to play over expectation. You don't know who's going to underachieve. So if it is your right fielder, if it is your center fielder, your left fielder, your third baseman, your second baseman, whatever it is, that's where Chris Bryant comes into play. If you have all of a sudden one of your guys having a really good year or someone gets hurt that you weren't expecting, that's where Chris Bryant comes into play. So if you sign somebody else who only plays one or two positions and then those things happen, you're in a really tough spot where you can't really do anything about it. But Chris Bryant can. One thing that concerns me, like Andrew said, once he put on a Giants uniform, he wasn't quite as good as he was with the Cubs. And you know what? The Giants are a team where there's not much pressure on you. That's a great organization. That's won a few World Series. They get the most out of their players. If Chris Bryant were to come here and do the same thing and get the kind of money that he's going to get with the way Boras is hyping him up, with him, we've talked about him for almost 2 years now with the whole, should the Mets trade for him? If he comes out and struggles and he starts getting booed, I have no idea how Chris Bryant's going to handle that. I always think that it's a big-time risk. And you know what? We talk a lot about, Sandy also doesn't get along with Scott Boras. That could potentially affect his, conversations about Mike Conforto. Well, the same exact thing is going to happen with Chris Bryant. So, if Chris Bryant does have a ridiculous asking price, it's like, I said you don't get Conforto because you don't want to put all your money into only 3 guys. But if you do the same exact thing for Chris Bryant, it doesn't really, it kind of defeats the purpose. It's like you might as well just keep Conforto at that rate because it's like at least I kind of know what Conforto is in a Mets uniform. I've seen him do good things, whereas Chris Bryant, it's completely unknown. So that is something that concerns me. He's had some injuries here or there. He's had inconsistencies in his career. So he's not my top priority. It all comes down to a price. I still would prefer to go more at the depth route. I'd rather get some, placeholder guys, especially if his primary position is third base. And I have Beatty, I have Vientos, I have Mauricio. So there's a lot of things that the Mets could consider. So he's not my top priority.
Okay, Tony Metro. Should Bryant be a priority for the Mets in free agency?
Yeah, I agree with most of what Frank said. I mean, I would like him, but he's definitely not my top priority. There are other guys I like out there that are better, in my opinion. The age kind of scares me away. He'll be entering his age 30 season this year. His birthday's in April, so a little concerning. I will say this: in games that he's played in over 100, or in seasons in which he has played in over 140 games, he's always hit 25 or more home runs. Love to see that. But, as he's going into his 30s, is that going to continue? As well as one of the big selling points on Bryant, his defensive versatility. As he gets to be 33, 34, 35, is he going to really be able to be a, adequate outfielder anymore? Is he going to still have a quick first step at third base? So for me, especially with him being a Boras client who we discussed earlier, I am far more in favor of looking at a guy like Correa, who I don't believe he's represented by Boras. Even if he is, though, he's 27 years old. Age is on his side. Unfortunately, there's then the whole question of puzzle pieces. Where does he fit in? Is he willing to play third base? Is Javi Baez also going to be able to come back? And is he willing to continue playing second base? So we've talked about it all day, and for each of the last probably 10 streams, the Mets are kind of a disaster right now. So I don't know, but Bryant's not my top priority. That being said, I think he could potentially be a good fit.
Correa's not a Boras guy. I just looked it up. He is
Ryan,
a Rosen.
And Correa's 27, but again, is he willing to play third base? So
he's also potentially $100 million more than Bryant. That's
exactly. And he's going to be a lot more money
tag,
because of that age and because he's a better player.
And how he just finished, in the World Series. And he just won the Gold Glove at shortstop. So that's another thing that's in his in his favor. So he's got a lot going for him. Because Bryant plays a lot of positions, but like San Francisco said, he doesn't play them extremely well. Like, you could play a lot of positions, but if you don't play it well, it's like you're just kind of standing there pretty much.
JD Davis can play left field. He's brutal at it.
All right. Elias, should the Mets prioritize, make Bryant a priority?
Yeah, I think he's pretty high up on my list. I think from a defensive versatility standpoint, he's almost perfect for the fact that he can hold down third base for the year. And then obviously, what's your farm system's biggest strength? Third base. You got three guys there who could potentially be your third baseman in the future. I think most of us see Mauricio more as a third baseman just from his size. And he's having a really good fall league, I believe. So is Beatty. And Vientos is probably the closest to coming up, and he had a really good year last year in AA and AAA, I believe. So yeah, I don't know how ready those guys are, but Bryant could play the year in third base and then move to right field. Also could move when injuries inevitably happen. His bat does scare me a little bit just because he's had some inconsistencies before. What you do like about him is, I know I've said I hate when players say, "Oh, let's sign this player because he's a winner. Oh, he's great because he's a winner." But it is great to bring that winning experience. He's won a World Series before. And if you're bringing Bryant, hell, why not bring Anthony Rizzo and make Pete the DH? Why not? Reunite the whole 2016 World Series infield with one guy from the Indians. But that's besides the point. I like Bryant. He does play in probably the second biggest baseball market in the country. LA is probably the second biggest market, sports market. I just think Chicago might be. I'm pretty sure their attendance is usually better, at least the Cubs, at least. I don't know. It just gives me the vibe of more of a, I guess Tony could speak on, I know he's not too fond of Dodger fans, but he's played in a big market before. Like we've said, though, he's had some inconsistencies in his career. It's got an awesome swing, one of a kind. It's pretty sweet. So yeah, I would love Bryant to be, the third baseman / right fielder for years for this team. I just worry about that price tag, obviously with the Boras client, but I think it is a really good fit overall, from the team building perspective.
I like what Leah said about him being with the Cubs, especially if the Mets bring back Javier Baez, because a couple streams ago we talked about the whole chemistry and how Baez only hangs out with Lindor. If you could bring in another former teammate of Chris Bryant who doesn't really have former teammate Baez who doesn't have connection to Lindor, that just gives Baez one more guy to kind of have more guys on the same page that all get along. So if they're going to be together for a long period of time, Bryant and Baez, because you're going to sign both of them to long-term deals, that could work out pretty good in the clubhouse chemistry. And Bryant is not a guy who's going to come in here and influence guys to do thumbs down or do anything crazy to the fans. So I think he might help Baez in that regard as well.
Yeah, and if this probably won't happen, but if you have guys that you're familiar with, maybe you do take a tiny discount when you come to, you're getting paid, you're winning, hopefully. I mean, it's the Mets after all, and you get to hang with people you're comfortable with. That could be a factor.
Hayden, last but not least, should Bryant be a priority in free agency?
Yeah. I guess kind of to agree with what everyone else said. He isn't my top guy to go to. Obviously, there's much other positions I'd like to address. But in terms of third base, he'd probably be my second pick, first being Carlos Correa. Frank, unfortunately, stole exactly what I was going to say about him being a Cub in the chemistry. So I'm not going to repeat that. But I think it would definitely be a good thing there. Regardless, the utility part is a huge thing. Third base, right field. We know at the All-Star game, he said he wouldn't mind playing center field. Obviously, he's much better defensively at third base. And, the Mets haven't had a third baseman really locked down since David Wright. And, I mean, we're almost going on to, at least 7 years now since. Not even talking about 2018. Point is, Mets need a third base, and I think that's a hot corner. I think that's, besides shortstop, those two are the most important positions on really a baseball team. And I think, the fact that we've kind of been jumping all over through third basemen, it's like the Broncos with quarterbacks. They had 10 quarterbacks since Peyton Manning. So 27th percentile whiff. Yeah. So obviously, and so that's the defensive approach. Offensively, he's a much better guy. He hits for fastballs well, something this team cannot do. He hits left-handed pitching well, something this team really struggled with this past season. So that could really boost up the offensive production. But the defensive versatility is something I like. I know you guys were kind of talking about it, saying, oh, forget Beatty or forget the farm. Focus on the now, and I agree with that 100%. I was talking about it on my stream the other day. Focus on the third base position now, and then worry about the farm. The farm isn't for another 2-3 years. I want to focus on this year, or 2022, so next year. So that's really what I'm saying with that. Overall, Chris Bryant, I prefer Carlos Correa, but Chris Bryant would easily be the second pick.
All right. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Chris Bryant, I like this. I do like it. I like the short-term possibilities. I like the long-term. He destroys lefties, as we said. He's got postseason experience. He's got the versatility. He's an upgrade from J.D. Davis. Come on, people. Let's be real for a second.
Not saying much.
He doesn't block any prospects since we can move him to the outfield. This is a 29, going on 30-year-old proven player. I'd say open the wallet right here. I would really take him because he's not really going to be your number one source. He's going to be a supporting guy with all these other guys. That's how I see it. And he can make that lineup better because, well, they can't hit lefties. So it'd be awesome. Anyways, now our last story.
Sorry. Do you know who my number one priority, though, is for the Mets in free agency?
Who?
No, you don't, Frank. Who?
Marcus Stroman.
No.
No. Who is it?
Freddie effing Freeman.
Ooh, that's not happening.
It's not happening. I'm just saying.
That is a fact. Yeah.
Put a $350 million check down on the table before you even say a word to Freddie Freeman and see what he says.
He could play third base.
He could play third base. That's right.
DH Alonso, find a good trade. I'm just saying, you want to make a power shift in the National League East, you take Freddie Freeman away from the Braves. It's astounding that he was not re-signed to an extension yet. I mean, it's really weird. But
and then 3 years from now, you go into DC and you steal Juan Soto.
Yeah, damn right. Let's go.
All right.
No, it's not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah, obviously.
I would have been in favor of that, and then I saw he was at the Country Music Awards, and I'm like, yeah, I'm all set because I fucking hate country music. No offense, Hayden.
None taken.
He's right.
I mean, Pete Alonso loves country music. I mean, him and Luke Combs. I texted you.
Oh yeah. You're like dynamic duo right there. I'm like,
yeah.
fuck off, Hayden.
Okay. All right. So final story.
Country
Final
music
story.
weekly.
This is a topic that has kind of been avoided, kind of beat around this kind of topic. We've kind of just danced around it. We haven't really gone full into it yet. As we all know, the CBA expires on December 1st. Everything will be frozen. Nobody will be able to make any transactions until they come to an agreement. Things are going to go by very quickly, or they're going to go by very quickly afterwards if they agree on something. John Heyman tweeted out yesterday or 2 days ago, I believe, that a management source identified the CBA negotiations as bad as I've ever seen it. And he also predicted 2.5 months of pain. With that being said, we all know about the relationship between the MLB and the MLBPA. We all know about that over the last few years. Should we be prepared for a player strike? Is it possible that this could happen? And what are the chances that a player strike could happen? I'm going to start with Mets Talk with Hayden.
Yeah, realistically, it's tough because I want to say it really could happen, but I want to say it can't. We know that the collective bargain agreement and, renewing the CBA, it's a bunch of bullshit at this rate. They've been talking about it since, last spring, but now you're getting closer to the deadline and there has really been no progress. It's going to be a shit show. It really is. It's going to be on Twitter. It's going to be nonsense. During all the meetings with the owners and GMs, it's going to be a bunch of nonsense. I just think if you look at it from the financial aspect, I don't think MLB could afford it. I don't think all these Major League Baseball teams who, I think someone mentioned in the chat before, I forgot who it was, if you want to see who we were. It was, the MLB just came off a 60-game season where financially all these teams lost so much money. They can't take that again. And I know they said that if 2021, if the season started 3 months later, 2 months later, all these MLB teams, they would be in trouble. So unless corrupt Rob Manfred's going to bail out all these teams, which I don't think he is, there's going to be some big worries coming. Overall, just from the mental standpoint, I cannot stand to have no baseball. Obviously, I really hope we don't see another 1994 to 1995 cancellation. That would be really tough. Should we be prepared? Yes. Do I think it's going to be the whole season? I don't think so. I think, at most, I'm hoping at least 2 months. Maybe what I'm thinking is that because then you have to pause free agency and then you got to boost everything up. And then are we going to have this whole training camp and crap again? I don't want to see that. That was terrible. Overall, should we be prepared? Yes, but I'm hoping like 2 months maybe, and then spring training maybe is delayed by a couple weeks to a month.
Okay. Frank, about sports, should we be prepared for a player strike?
Yes, I would say for sure 100%. And the main reason why is the luxury tax. I think that MLB owners are going to be pushing for two things. They're pushing for luxury tax to be lowered, and they're going to try at least to push for a salary cap. And if they try that, everything is in shambles because we right now the Dodgers are way over the tax. By the time it's all said and done, the Mets are going to be over the tax. If the Yankees get any of the big shortstops, they would be over the tax. So all of a sudden, you would just have a lot of teams that have to do drastically different things. You can't just give players away because no one's going to want to take these big contracts. I mean, the Dodgers have to pay Trevor Bauer. No one's going to take them from you. So it would just make for a huge mess. Players want more money. Owners want to cut money. I mean, we've known that forever. I feel like ever since the whole Bryce Harper, Manny Machado offseason, things have really gone downhill since then because those guys decided, so what was it, February? And they got the huge contracts that took so long. And the very next offseason, everyone got signed right away, Garrett Cole and all those guys. So I think that and we saw just the way just spring training alone, just getting them to play games was almost impossible to pull off. It took them months to just agree on that. They have so many things that they have to discuss in the CBA. Do they want to implement a salary cap floor? What are they going to do about shifting? What are they going to do about things like that? They have DH. I mean, there is a ton of stuff that they're going to have to go over. So I would say we'd be fully prepared for a strike. I hope it's not too long. I think it probably would cut into spring training. And then, like we said, it's going to be the biggest problem is, like we said, free agency trying to get. So there'll be so many guys that are still unsigned that all of a sudden it's like, where are they going to go? Who are you going to report to? Who are you going to practice with? And it's just going to make for a bad product because we're going to see guys that like don't get their reps in. And we saw it in the 2020 season where like so many guys had off years, where guys were good than they should have been or not as good as they should have been. I think we might get that again, especially as it could be a shortened season. And we saw it really could hurt the pitchers. So I think we should be prepared for it. Unfortunately, I'm dreading it. But I do think this guy because these guys are on such bad terms. And I think once it gets started and they see just how far apart they are and what they want, I honestly can't see them coming to any kind of agreement, to be honest with you, because the players are just going to keep pushing for more. The owners are not going to want to do it. So I really don't know how they're going to pull this one off.
Tony Metro, should we be prepared for a player strike? Is it possible?
Yeah, I think it's probably 50-50 at this point, if not a little higher possibility that it will happen. I can tell you the biggest losers in that, of course, will be the fans. The biggest winners will be Michael Conforto and the Dodgers. So, I mean, hey, that'd be great for them. But no, I don't know. I'd say it's probably 60-40 that there will be a strike. And I hope there's not because shortened seasons suck. I want to watch a whole 162 game season unless the new CBA lowers it to like 140, which I'd be okay with that, honestly. But I don't know. I mean, what do the players want? Like, you know, Major League Baseball players have it really good compared to other sports. Like NFL players are literally putting their lives on the line, and those contracts are not as good as the paper that they're written on. I mean,
not guaranteed.
You just get released. You're not getting paid. I mean, baseball, you get guaranteed contract. The money is off the charts for these guys. There's no salary cap in the league. There's no amnesty clauses like there is in the NBA. So, you know, I don't really know exactly what it is the players are looking to gain out of this, but obviously they're going to have some wants and needs, and the owners are going to have some as well. And it could get ugly, especially as we know with Rob Manfred running the show. It could really get bad and drag out. So hopefully that's not the case, but I would not be surprised if it happens.
All right. Elias, did I get to you yet?
No.
No, okay. Should we be prepared for a player strike this year?
Yeah, at this point, I think it's really likely. Like everyone said, there's a lot they got to cover on the CBA, and there's going to be a lot of, you know, disagreements. I think it's going to be a disaster for everyone, the fans, for us. What are we going to make videos about? I mean, if nobody's signing and whatnot, we all know what the dead period is like. It sucks. You know, how many prediction videos or Sporkle quizzes can you make? It's going to suck. And like for me, especially, you know, this is probably like my last year where I can watch like every game because I'm going to college next year. I don't know how much of that time it's going to take me. So it's going to suck, man. I pray we get a full season. I'm tired of, oh, well, this player had this good year, but, oh, does it really count? Shortened season. I always make fun of my friend who's a Dodger fan. I tell him that his World Series didn't count. You know, shit like that. It just makes everything fucking annoying. So, yeah, at the end of the day, please just hurry it up, MLBPA. Please come to some sort of agreement, and please have that include the universal DH and no bullshit runner on or 3-batter minimum rule or any of those stupid rules.
GM himself, president of baseball operations, if you want it for the Mets right now. Andrew, should we be prepared for a strike to happen?
I mean, I've been telling you for like 7 months now that this was going to happen, and we're not playing baseball next year. And I'm waiting for it when they lock the doors. The All Elite Rhino's ready to go. I'll have a full rebrand, be gaming, will be more, you know, I'm ready hockey. You know, I've been prepared. Meadowland Madness will be back. You know, I'm prepared for a strike, and I've been prepared. You know, I got the MLB The Show come back, Madden. You know, I'd be fine. I think content besides the point. And I think all of us mentally could take a year away from the Mets to just go out, not have to watch a game from 7 to 10 or 1 to 4, and go out, go to a restaurant, go hang out with friends, Go to a movie. Go
Ew.
touch grass. Mets fans' case, get off the computer and go touch some grass.
No more numbers.
No more
Oh,
Savant.
boy.
Savant deactivates. Fangraph deactivates. Just go away. The world would
Didn't
be
even know
so
I had
much.
a family, man. I didn't know I had a family, to be honest.
It would be amazing.
No more
to
saying
not-
wall Mets for 8 hours
no,
straight.
no little Mets. Deactivate Twitter, and it'll be great. No stupid takes on Conforto or Nemo or Alonso or Jake. It wouldn't matter. Brad Hand, the world would be a better place. We would be mentally, I think we all mentally would be happier, even though baseball wouldn't it. But guess what? We wouldn't have to sit through another sub 500 Mets season. So I think mentally for us, strike would be great. And then content, we all can, refresh, go out, have some creativity. Maybe some of us go to gaming. Some of us,
I'll become a
God knows.
full-time music channel.
man, yeah, exactly. You can create an album in a year. So I think a strike would
Andrew,
be.
I already took my Mets break. I didn't watch shit in the second half.
Well, that's different. That's like 20 games. That's like a casual Mets fan. You take a whole year off, and think about it. Brett Beatty be ready, so you wouldn't have to spend for a third
Would be a
baseman because
minor
Beatty would
league
be ready.
season?
Yeah, the minor
Minor
leaguers.
league.
The best part is the minor leaguers can go play elsewhere. It's the major leaguers that can't play.
Yeah.
That's the good
Imagine
stuff.
there's
So,
a minor league season, but no major.
Dude.
League. We're here watching Syracuse Met games every
hey,
night.
I'm all for that. But again, it's just kind of it's terrible for the game. And let's again, as the funny how it was, but it would kill the game. The game's already dead. So beside we love it, but the game is dead. It's just at best the third most popular sport. There's nothing changing that anytime soon, unless you're gonna give everybody metal bats and tennis balls and make PEDs fun again. So again, this is the game's dead. So even if a strike happens, we're still gonna watch. There's still gonna be baseball fans. The general public doesn't care anyway. So strike happens. Strike happens.
Wow, that's a weird way to put it.
Kind of true though. There's your Rhino rant for the day.
All right. Yeah, I think at this point, this was 3 to 4 years into the making at this point, and I really would not be surprised, especially after that embarrassing sequence we all went through before the 2020 season. The relationship has just gotten so bad in the last few years, and it's going to get really, really ugly. And I'm kind of excited because I feel like that's going to branch out a lot of content aware stuff for me. But hey, I for you news channels, if you're on the screen right now, I hate to be that. Jeez. Dear
It would be
Lord.
better if we had, a season, like a good season to reflect on. Like me and Carson made the player rankings and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I don't want anything to do with last season. It was so bad. Like if we were coming off
Yeah.
a high note, I'd be better with it. Just kind of no hangover from World Series hangover, none of that.
But think about it. Every day you'd have a Mets classic to watch, and it'd be great
Oh,
games
God.
every day.
I love
You know?
that so much.
That's
I would
I can't wait.
any old game from 1995. I'm like, this is so boring.
Yeah,
I don't
I
understand.
can't do it. If I know the
Those
result,
were-
I can't do it.
The Mets classics are literally where I get most of my video ideas from.
Exactly.
Like,
It's like,
like
you know.
that's what's crazy.
And
Okay,
there are other
so-
sports out there. So a year off not that
Yes,
bad.
Kinda-
suck.
all
What
right,
else am I gonna
trying
watch? I don't like hockey. I don't like
You
basketball.
can watch Mike White.
Mike White. Sheesh. All right.
Right.
So now I'm trying to pull up my thing here. Hold on. Okay. So as we mentioned multiple times, it's free agency, people. And the Mets have a lot of decisions to make in this department. They got a lot of decisions to make pretty much everywhere. And now we're going to express who we do want, who we don't want, by bringing back a game that we did. I think it was like the first ever game that we did, buy or sell. Now, so right here I have, I'm just trying to,
Conforto sell.
oh,
Yes.
Christ. All right, so I'm just trying to add this.
Damn.
Sam Duvall by. Is Sam Duvall on the wheel?
I don't know.
Charlie Marte.
Just trying to-
He's probably my number one
this
guy.
out. Whoops.
Wow, I'm
Nobody
getting
needs a
I
full
get
screen
covered
of
up by the
Carson.
logo. That's my
Jesus.
punishment for freaking slacking off on the Mets weeklies.
There we go.
Just trying
Oh,
to. This
still.
thing is just,
Alright, I
like,
deserve it.
being
Is this in
really
4K?
annoying. I hope it
boy.
is.
All the Twitch streamers
Oh
are gonna
my
be upset.
God.
It's not 4K.
Please don't.
Pretty
Please don't
blurry for
laugh.
me.
Thank you.
Carson's
not,
been
I'll-
doing
if
round
not,
of
I'll-
applause for Carson with the graphics though. It looks sweet, man. And that intro.
Yeah. I got more. Don't worry. Hold on.
Yeah.
I might have to switch to a window, but for some reason it's not. It really wants to just be very blurry. So right here I have a wheel of, yeah, I'm probably gonna have to switch this, but I have a wheel of 144 free agents. Now, some free agents are left off since, well, they're probably going to get lower deals, probably not going to be a big impact signing. So, you know, prospects that the Mets let go, like Franklin Killenay, and you know, those guys are that's kind of out of the question. Now, I'm going to switch this to a window, so I'm gonna get rid of this real quick.
I just have one question, Mets fan.
Because yeah.
Sorry, is Chance Cisco on this board? Because he should be. He's an impact free agent.
Super impact. What did he get, a double in that Fan game?
I don't think so. You might have to.
Probably the best catcher on our team. Let's be honest.
So I'm just.
McChicken.
Hey.
Needs.
We got Needot. We okay.
Need overrated.
I'm just trying to get this stupid thing out of here. I obviously can't do two things with this because it's so. Oh, that'll keep. Okay, perfect. Now, technical difficulties, folks. Okay. Now, there we go. We should be good with that. And then.
Man, we had a 15-minute delay. You couldn't
share
figure it
my-
out then?
Jesus
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I freaking wish, man. I really freaking wish.
You can
All
tell
right.
we're not good at killing time.
So you want to talk about the Phillies interested in Aaron Loop, and should the Mets get into a bidding war for him?
No.
Oh, no.
I don't know, man.
He's going to implode in Philly.
This
Just
is-
watch. Every reliever they touch turns to shit.
Yeah, the Phillies can have Hader, Hendricks, Diaz, and Prime
Imagine
Mariano, and
Diaz, that would be a
still suck.
disaster. Yeah,
Come on. Why is this thing so slow? Jesus.
because you're on a
Wait,
Windows.
wait,
You should use Mac.
All right.
I'm gonna,
Just pretty much spin the wheel and just tell us.
now I gotta literally.
Yeah.
Hey. Stay with us, folks. I apologize.
We are
There
a
we
bunch of
go.
idiots
There
trying
we
to use a
go.
computer. You know.
Yeah. I lost my.
There we go.
Dude, wait.
Are we good?
All right, let's see.
We all good?
It's still loading for me.
It's
Yeah,
facts.
it's buffering.
There we go. All right, there you go.
Okay.
Good enough.
Now I'm gonna
Let's
put
play.
the timer up here.
Oh no.
Oh
Put
boy.
that. Okay.
So we
guess
say
we'll go
bye,
down
and we
the
give a
line.
30-minute explanation, right?
30
Yeah, 30
minutes.
minutes.
Jesus
Or
Christ.
30 second. Excuse me.
30 days.
30 days.
30 years.
We're going 30
Nice.
minutes. Why we shouldn't?
There
should
we
let
go.
people walk. I could probably do
Thank
that.
you.
30 years goes by quicker than you think, trust me.
Okay. So yeah, I get 30 years to set this thing up, and so it actually can fucking work properly. Okay.
You say "Lol Mets" while you do
Now.
it. You got 50,000 to go.
Why is Brendan Drury on there?
Okay, so
Because he's
we're gonna
late.
go down,
He's impact.
We'll start.
The clutchest hitter we had.
Is he? Is he on here? Awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Awesome.
Now, I'm gonna
That's
spin
a
it.
roll.
We'll start with the Rhino himself. We'll just go down the line. He'll have 30 seconds for a buy or sell on whichever free agent
Just moved myself up so I could go
this one
sooner.
lands on.
I moved myself.
Ooh. Oh, this is a good one. All right.
You got the power.
Bet,
Oh.
bet.
Bobby
All right.
Fan.
So,
Are we good? Oh.
Tommy Pham, buy or sell Andrew Acevedo, 30 seconds. The floor is yours.
No, because he's the right-handed Michael Conforto, and I think one Michael Conforto is enough. I don't need the right-handed version. If we're gonna sign an outfielder, I want a guy who's not just gonna walk all the time and hit the occasional homer. I want a guy that's gonna be able to drive in runs, produce runs. I don't care what WRC plus. I like the run just to R, and I need RBIs. And Pham is a kind of a table setter guy. I need a guy that can be an impact bat and drive in runs.
Okay. Bet. All right.
My turn.
How did Tony get up there? Jesus Christ, y'all are moving around.
No, he was there. He was there. And
Okay.
then I
Start the timer.
Okay.
I
Now-
love Tommy Pham, but I think there are better options out there. This guy's kind of a utility guy. but if I
Oh,
wanted
you're
to
getting
go-
you're getting
You
another
get a new
free
player,
agent.
right?
Yeah, we get a new player. Yeah, everybody
Oh,
gets a
yeah,
new
Yeah,
player.
a new player.
You get a new player.
Okay. Sorry.
Oh my god.
Cutting a promo on Tommy.
Well, I
Pham.
like Tommy Pham, but
We're all
not
over.
that.
We're all over the place, so it's okay.
You're not tuning in for
Let's see what we
professional.
got here.
Watch him get like Jeff Mathis.
Ooh.
Oh, Corey Kluber? Rafael.
Who's that?
Rafael
Who the heck is that?
Dolis.
Oh, lefty.
That's why this
for
was lagging.
the Blue
Wait, what team is he
Jays.
on again?
The reliever for the Blue Jays.
Also, the guy
Right.
that takes forever that we like slapped around.
Oh,
Yeah, he
yeah.
takes
absolutely
forever.
no. Yeah,
I
he takes
don't
forever.
even know who
Alright.
he is, so I can't
You don't
give
know
you
who
an
he is?
opinion.
Give him another spin.
Yeah, give
All right, we'll
one
give you
more.
another
He's like
one.
10-day
If I don't know
contract
the next
players.
guy,
already.
I'll Google search them and give you a quick assessment. But
Got all these 10-day
Let's
contract
see.
players in here. Like, come on.
I mean, guys have over a 5 ERA.
All right.
Andy Duffy.
Oh,
Danny Duffy.
Oh, hey, got my guy.
Danny
All right,
Duffy.
all right. So
Buy
I know
or
very
sell
limited.
Danny Duffy.
I know very limited about Danny Duffy, how he performed this year. He's 32 years old, I see. I know he was kind of a highly touted guy when he came up with the Royals, but yeah, you know what? Maybe on like a very small deal to like compete for the 5th spot in the rotation, okay. But I mean, I'm not like, oh my God, we got to get Danny Duffy in here ASAP. So he's definitely probably, if there's 5 tiers of free agents, he's probably at the bottom of the 4th, right before hitting the 5th.
Oh,
not in the gourmet section.
Not in the gourmet.
not in the gourmet section. By the way, guys, go check out that video. Graphics by Andrew. It's a video by Frank About Sports.
Oh, yeah. Really good video, man.
Frank
I
About
saw it.
Sports.
You
Link is
say
in the
Frank's video
description.
first. You don't got to put me over. It's Frank's video. Like, why you put me over
Frank's
first? I just
video.
did some
We're
big-
trying to get credit to everybody. Okay. All right. So, who's next in line here? I think. I
Me.
guess we're.
That's me.
Okay.
Then-
So
Yeah,
it's,
they keep messing
Elias.
Around, yeah.
Y'all are fucking around with this thing because my thing lagging, so I can't.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I just see these guys like
All right.
just jumping.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Let's see what we got.
Oh yes.
Happy bias, happy bias, happy bias.
Happy by
I like Javi Bias now.
Oh.
We'll do it this way.
Oh,
Tony
this-
Watson?
No,
There we
go.
next. Who the fuck is that? Next.
Yeah, you don't know.
You know who Tony Watson is?
No,
He's on.
I've heard the name. I'm not super familiar though, and I
He's
don't
the
have much to
lefty.
talk
He
about.
started with Pittsburgh. Pitched for
Good MLB The
Dodgers
Show
for a
card.
little.
Can I get someone else? I want someone actually like
All
fun to
right.
talk.
Well, he's a funky lefty. I love talking about funky lefties.
Yeah, I
I love a funky.
sure. Yeah, sign him up. Sign me up.
Oh.
Oh, okay. This is a good
Uh-oh.
one. Jimmy Nelson.
Ooh.
Jimmy Nelson.
He was with the Brewers last year.
With the Dodgers last year. Started with the Brewers.
Dodgers.
He's a
Excuse me.
reliever,
With the Dodgers. Then went to the
right?
Brewers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can I get another
Yeah.
guy? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar enough with them.
Oh, it should be a casual spin.
All right.
All these, yeah,
You
I'm
get one
sorry,
more.
he's a casual. I don't know.
You wonder why this
Casual
wheel had a hard
Mike
time
White.
Casual wheel.
Yeah,
At
Maybe
least
the
you want
catch.
Mike White. Yeah, spy or sell Mike White.
Corey
all
Dickerson.
right, all right,
Hey,
I
see
got
that?
it. I got him. Yeah.
All right. Corey Dickerson, buy or sell, Elias. 30 seconds.
Yeah, so I'll say buy if he's off the bench. You know, he's a decent left-handed bat who can get some hits, you know, a slap hitter. He can play left field. He's a pretty decent veteran player. He's good defensively as well. You know, I do not want him in a starting role, but I think you need these kind of average to above average players that you could platoon with other guys when injuries happen. You want a guy like this opposed to an Albert Almora, like legitimate depth like this. For a bench role or something like that, occasionally start. Yeah, sign me up for Corey Dickerson.
All right. Bet. Okay.
Can I get
Next up
another
is
spin? No, I'm just kidding.
next up is Frank About Sports, I believe. All right. God, we're rotating the. All right. Whoever's rotating them.
Let's switch
I'm
these
trying to
around.
get
Whoever-
the line.
say whoever's
It's supposed to
next.
be Hayden next.
Yeah, he was supposed to go.
Is it supposed to be Hayden?
Yeah,
There we go. Now,
Oh,
now
you're
the order
adjusting
is
it for the
correct.
line? I like that. Yeah.
Oh,
got
you guys are doing like a
I
conga
got
line
that.
thing?
I'll do it.
I like
Just
that.
give me
I
a
like
second.
that, yeah.
All right. Hayden, let's see what we got here.
Come on, Michael.
Oh,
Conforto.
there we go. That's
Jonathan
the best
New York,
part.
Jonathan New
Oh,
York.
no, thank
Fuck Brett.
Nicholas-
Oh,
there you go.
Good one,
you.
good
Good
one.
drive.
I thought I got Brett Gardner for a minute. Okay, Nicholas Castellanos. Tell me when my
Swing and
timer's
drive
up.
to left.
And that'll be a home run.
30 seconds.
All right, Nicholas Castellanos. Personally, if he were to come to the Mets, I would want him to be a DH. Defensively, he is not too good. Single percentile in OAA, negative defensive run saved. No bueno. Defensively, he is not there. Offensively, he is there. He just won the Silver Slugger Award. He could hit for some pop, hit for a decently high average, hit for some power, contact type of hitter. He could definitely be in the top of the order for this lineup, but only as a DH role.
Cool.
Boom.
Awesome. All right. So Frank's.
What is the sum power number range? What's the sum power? What's the age gap there, Hayden?
For Castellanos?
Is he
Yeah,
a
'cause
power
the-
hitter?
Is he a power hitter? That's what. Yeah, you said some power. So like, is he less than Baez or like?
Does he hit dingers or dingers?
Yeah, is it big boy or little dingers?
Well, you know, he
Yeah,
hits
no.
drives to left field, and that would be a home run. Like
He doesn't have
Castellanos.
Pete Alonso power. Nobody has Pete Alonso power, but he has power.
Stanton
Like
has
Pete
people
Alonso
on.
power is up here, and then you got like Castellanos like down here with like everyone else.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. No. Okay.
that's the point of the match.
He definitely likes to hit home runs while there's tragedies going
What
on.
is tragedy?
Yeah.
God is.
Which always happens for the Mets. So I mean, you know,
Yeah, why not? I mean,
It was-
all you
When
gotta do is
Edwin
just
Diaz
keep
gives
lighting
up home
Citi
runs,
Field
he
on
can hit home
fire.
runs.
He'll just. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is it back to who is it? Back to me or
Is-
no?
No, I didn't.
Frank.
Oh,
Frank
Frank.
about sports. Let's get the Frank about tank, buy or sell here.
Come on, Duval. Come on, we need Duval here. Come on,
please.
we need Duval.
Oh my God.
Or Eddie Escobar. Eddie Escobar.
He's
Duval.
not
Gordon. Who's this?
Oh.
Mitch Moreland?
Oh.
Ugh.
Okay.
Andy
Buy or
Martino in the
sell-
building.
Buy or sell.
The rest of us can give our opinions with our hands.
All right. Buy or sell Corey washed up Kluber.
Yeah, exactly. Even in the last offseason, I was a sell on Corey Kluber, and I'm still a sell on Corey Kluber. He could throw 5 no-hitters in the season, but that'll probably be the only 5 starts you get from him because he's going to miss the rest of it with injury, and that's the last thing the Mets need. They have so many injury-prone guys in the rotation already with Walker. You don't know what Carrasco is. Obviously, DeGrom's been hurt. Syndergaard's been hurt. That's the last thing Mets could afford is try to say, oh, we fixed our rotation with another injury-prone guy. Absolute sell on Kluber.
Yeah.
Get him out of here.
But the nastiest MLB the show.
Yes, great 99 card. LBO show, bye. Real life,
Oh
sell.
my God.
Frank,
I'm
that was-
Kluber elite.
That was unbelievable.
we gotta
Oh my
we gotta
God.
do a buy or sell by
I'm
the
praying
by the
Tony gets
MLB the show
Conforto.
card on the market.
Oh,
Buy or
you don't
sell.
want
Oh,
to get
I'm all
Conforto.
for that.
That'd be
Dream
a
will
good
end.
I
Say
think
that for a
I have
lockout.
one rant recorded.
Mets
when
fan
we were
will
talking
rage
about it.
quit the stream if I get Conforto.
Facts. Just end
Okay.
stream.
I think I have one of your rants on him
Conforto on here? I
recorded.
think
That
he
was
is.
just
Yeah, okay.
incredible.
Send it to me.
All right, come on. Give me some random obscure guy, or give me. I don't care, to be honest. Give me Carlos Correa so I can piss all of you off.
Let's see.
Oh,
Oh, Clutch Man.
Jose
Okay.
Peraza,
Oh,
yeah.
Jose
a
Peraza.
reunion.
Oh,
A
boy.
reunion with Josh Hader's reliever of the year. Josh Hader's
Okay.
father.
His only blown save in the
His
regular
only
season.
blown save.
Because that's what elite relievers do. They only blow one save.
Only blow one save.
Five.
I think it's a really clutch player.
Absolutely. Can't have an ERA above 1. All right.
Yeah.
Jose Peraza, or as people called him in spring training, Drake. 30 seconds.
He already said no to a minor league deal, so that's kind of all I would. Again, he's a nice bench bat. Had some good moments. Obviously, the Hader moment being the biggest one. Again, if some better left-handed killing options are off the board, bring them back. But yeah, nothing, not real. I'm not like, oh my god, we need to sign Peraza. But if again, cheap deal, I'm not against it.
If I could combine Jose Peraza's baseball IQ and clutchness with
Michael Conforto.
Jonathan VR's talent, it'd be the perfect player.
That is a very. It take away his base running IQ though.
Yeah.
I think they need Peraza IQ.
I love Jose Peraza for his defense. Like
his glove is
he
great.
was really solid.
Peraza's an all-around very good player. He's pretty clutch. He's a good pinch hitter off the bench. He plays multiple positions. VR is all of that except a lot of base running, but he's also better at all of those things than Peraza is.
Peraza's a really good TV player. Like when you watch him, you think, "Oh, wow, this player's good," and then you look at his stats, not so much. At least that's what happened to me this year. I thought he was doing better than he actually did.
With the limited amount of at bats that he had, I mean, like is going to be
from a minor league like spring training player. He definitely proved himself.
The fact that he didn't get a Tops Now card for hitting that homer off Hader kind of pisses me off, but besides the point.
Okay, so Tony Metro. Here we go. There's so many jokes you can make here.
Okay.
Herrera.
Okay.
30 seconds, buy or sell.
Don't start the clock.
Whoops.
Oh, you started the clock. Damn it. Okay. Odubel Herrera. Philly killed us for a decent amount of time. Career 274 average. I like that. I'm old school. I like it. I mean, I just think I want to go big. It's either go big or go home. I'm trying to get a utility guy like Chris Taylor, not Odubel Herrera. So I'm selling on Herrera. Not interested.
You could have took that. Okay.
Yeah, didn't he
selling on Herrera? That's a real punch. I'll tell you. That is really
a very nice guy.
Oh man,
I don't know.
Roberto Ozuna level.
That's a real punch. I mean that's
he's like buddies with Dalvin Cook.
Love Dalvin.
He had one of those.
Too soon.
Go back to life.
Regardless, he's a utility guy and he's not that great. I want to go for Chris Taylor's kind of the apple of my eye right now, or whatever they say, whatever the saying goes.
All-star. Another guy with more accomplishments than Michael Conforto.
Hey, you're at the back of the line right now. All right. All right. Elias.
Let's see this shit.
Let's see. Jonathan VR.
Javier Baez.
Kevin Pillar.
Oh
my gosh. So close.
Cueto.
Cueto. All right.
Good vet. Had a good year last year. Buy or sell.
Injury prone.
Johnny Cueto. You have the floor.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no here. He's super fun to watch. Don't get me wrong. All the quick pitching, all the timing stuff. But that's what you got Marcus Stroman for. At this point in his career, he's really injury prone. He's pretty washed, and I'm guessing he'd want a guaranteed starting rotation spot. I'd rather a guy like Danny Duffy or other guys like that to kind of be that competing for the fifth starter role than a guy like Cueto, who at this point in his career is really unreliable.
Okay.
Elite timing games though, the quick pitches and stuff. Ooh, beautiful.
Oh yeah, that's mastermind stuff right there. Cueto. Okay. Who's next? Who we got next?
I am. I think I am.
All right.
Yeah.
Mets
my camera's not even.
Hayden.
What's going on? Okay.
Let's see.
Let's see who we get.
Oh. Okay. This one's an interesting one. He got hurt, but he's got a good track record. We don't know though. Trevor Rosenthal. Buy or sell. 30 seconds.
All right. To be honest, I'm probably going to decline it. I'm going to sell it. He is injury prone. He pretty much was on the 60-day IL for pretty much, I don't know what, like the whole 2021 season for the most part. He has pretty much had all of his injuries. I mean, looking at his injuries here, pretty much surgery from torn hip, Tommy John, the elbow. He pretty much did not pitch at all. I don't want the Mets having another guy that is coming back from Tommy John. We already have Syndergaard. There's already talks about getting Verlander. Too much. Mets pitching rotation has too many injuries to worry about. I don't need it involved in the bullpen.
All right, guys. I apologize for my showmanship. I forgot one thing.
Ooh, okay.
This man tries way too hard.
Listen.
How do you even put that up there?
Magic, I say.
Magic.
All right, Frank about sports with our new beautiful emblem on the screen. Let's say.
Oh, come on, we need a Frank about hot take. Come on, somebody good.
All right.
Eduardo Escobar.
Duval, Soler, somebody.
God.
Jesse Chavez.
Oh, the guy that never retires. Cool.
Yeah.
Got the guy in the Braves.
Hey, think about it. It's perfect. The old man has to talk about the old man. It's perfect.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, okay. He did have an all
Had a
right
good year.
year with Atlanta,
Yeah.
right? He was all right.
He had a decent year.
Yeah. So Jesse Chavez by yourself.
I'm actually going to do a sell on this one. Like Andrew says, he's a guy that's bounced around a lot. He's been on a lot of different teams. And if he had a good year for the Braves as a reliever, we know when it comes to relievers, that usually means they're due for a bad year. So I think that the Mets would be taking way too big of a risk with Jesse Chavez. I think when it comes to bullpen, they need someone who is a little more proven, has a better track record, because we know how important bullpen is. They lost Familia. They need someone to fill in. Chavez is not that guy. Or Chavez, whatever you want to call him.
He could be your Bart, though.
I mean, he's still productive. Yeah.
And he just has to gain like about 1,500 pounds, but you know.
Hey, no tub slander.
I'm sorry. All right. Well, guys, you heard it here first. Go on Twitter. Get that clip going. Cancel
There you
me out.
go.
I'm on back.
Cancel
here,
the
though.
tub hater.
All right. Who's up next?
Me.
All right.
Just see who.
Oh, you see the line, dude?
Okay. This is a good one. This is a good one.
Alex Wood.
Oh,
Alex Wood. Do you have Wood for Alex? Sorry, that's a bad one. 30 seconds.
Okay, boys, I gotta go after that. Okay.
No. Buy or sell Alex Wood, 30 seconds.
I mean, I wouldn't mind it. You know, if Rich Hill leaves, he could be a younger version of Rich Hill, another guy with a good, funky left-handed delivery with a really good curveball. Again, starter, has had some time in the bullpen, and is a starting pitcher. Again, pitching depth, and especially left-handed pitching, never have enough of it. Obviously, Lucchesi out, David Peterson, kind of a dumpster fire. I wouldn't mind Alex. I'd buy Alex Wood.
All right, cool.
We'll buy some wood.
Yep, buying up all the wood.
I agree.
Build a fort. All right.
Build a wall.
He might be a really good guy, like at the end of
Whoa.
spring training.
Okay.
If he's kind of there and no one's really picked him up, you might get him for a good deal.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay. Who's got the last turn? Who's the last turn? Like
It was Andrew.
I'm the last.
Tony,
turn.
and then
Yeah,
Tony,
Frank's always last in the line.
Frank's
I'm the
last.
first one. Frank's last.
right.
Yeah.
Those will be our last turns, and then we'll get into everyone's favorite segment.
Oh Lord.
Call it a day.
What's your favorite segment?
You
Oh,
know,
you'll see.
Criteria.
Yeah, I've been snoozing.
Oh, Jake Marissa, yes.
Jake.
Jock.
Oh, big. Oh, I can't say. Like, can I say his nickname or no? I'm not allowed to say his
Big.
nickname.
No, please,
Fat
no,
cock
I
job?
lost too much money this video.
Frank needs his
Um,
$7. Okay, sorry.
Oops.
Yeah.
All
Being
right.
here in Los Angeles, where he first was developed and came up, Jock Peterson's a great player. He's shown that he was with the Cubs. He's shown that he was with the Braves. Now World Series winner. 100% take Jock Peterson. Plays a platoon role either in left field or center field, depending on how the rest of the offseason goes. Absolutely buy on Jock Peterson. No doubt.
Yeah.
I wanted him or Kike Hernandez instead of Kevin Pillar last year.
Dude,
but, yeah.
you get your replacement for Conforto in a platoon with Jock Peterson and
Yup.
some other guy. I can
Duvall.
see it
Yeah.
at half the
Gotta get
cost.
quality there. I mean,
Mark Hanna.
Who, Frank?
make sure they don't get hurt.
Duvall.
That's
He has another teammate. Gold Glover.
who?
Gold Glove Adam Duvall.
Michael Kadire? Who?
Dude, Peterson, by the
All
way, Jock Peterson is an excellent defender with a cannon for an arm and plays all three outfield positions.
Please tell
I
that
think
that
it all
will be the show.
depends. I think with defense, I don't know if he's the best in center field, but other than that, he's pretty good.
He's not. He's probably lost a step, but
Right.
I mean, when he first came up, he was almost the Dodgers' primary center fielder as Matt Kemp was being phased out.
If
He was
there is
that
no
guy.
DH, I mean, or even if there is a DH,
Matt
he's a good
Kemp,
fit because
man,
Mets
that's
doesn't have a
that's
pinch hitter
amazing.
like that.
Remember when that was a
Yeah.
thing?
He's good off the bench. Yeah,
Remember he was in the when he was a Met.
he was in the
Dude,
Met system. Yeah,
Matt Killer Camp, man. Matt
I would
Killer
bring
Camp.
in Peterson to be Pilar, but a step above Pilar. Like start 90 to 100 games,
Yeah.
play in 130 games. Like he's a stud.
Well,
Yeah.
he's a fun dude too.
Kind of like
I
how
think
the
he'd be good
Giants
for New York.
players.
his personality would work.
A
Yeah.
different lineup every game.
And not to get off topic, he has an autistic brother, which is something really close to my heart. And he has a lot of charities, and he's a really,
wow.
really, really great guy. He really
That's
is.
right, yes.
That's good. That's
Oh,
really good.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's awesome, man.
You can market that in New York very well, though. Like that
For
would
sure,
be
yeah.
like, yeah.
No, he'd be a good fit
Um,
all around.
Let's see. Elias, you up?
Yep.
All right. Let's see it.
That's a
Is
Robles.
he in on the list? I believe he is.
Oh.
Ooh.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
Jorge Soler. He hits a lot of dingers, and he hits a lot of them in the World Series. 30 seconds. Jorge Soler, buy or sell, Elias.
100% buy. You'd steal him away from them Braves. Make that team worse. Make our team better. That's always great. Boy, can this dude hit some bombs. Coming off a World Series MVP, he's got that winning experience, which is fairly important. You can play him out in the outfield. You can DH him too. He's had 50 home run seasons in the past in Kansas City, which is not an easy ballpark to hit in. This dude can hit some tanks. What couldn't we do last year? We had Pete Alonso, nobody else hitting home runs. Let's get some boys who can hit home runs. Jorge Soler, welcome to the Mets.
All right. Welcome to the
I
Mets.
mean,
We
if
got
you
a
think
compliment.
Javi Baez chases, Soler could chase quite a bit.
Soler
Dingers,
likes
buddy.
dingers. a
He
lot.
whips.
Dingers, buddy. My Javi Baez hate days are done.
Oh man, Conforto. Those. Oh man, the Conforto days of hating Conforto.
Oh, you can
man,
replace
those are
Conforto too, if I didn't mention that.
Those are gonna be those are gonna be fun when those days are over for everyone. Oh, that's gonna be awesome.
It'll be much easier to replace Conforto than it is to replace Beltran.
Oh God, that overrated dude. Mets talk with Hayden. Then we'll have Frank, and then we'll be on our way.
Let's get Brett Gardner. Oh,
Ooh,
wow.
Oh,
Ooh. Oh, boy.
Really? Who the fuck?
we'll give him another one because we
The-
don't have
the
we haven't really
Brewers.
gotten that many big names.
No, didn't he sign an extension?
No, not
I
yet.
thought I saw it somewhere.
Brett Anderson. Maybe
On
a
the
different
Brewers.
Brett.
I mean, he's a lefty, so that's like.
Yeah, I like Brett Anderson. He was the guy who was eyeing out.
All right, Marte, all right.
All right,
That's
so
chopping a little bit.
spit it up.
Oh, you didn't click it.
Starling Marte. He's like maybe my number one guy.
Yoshi
Oh.
Tsutsugo.
Yoshi.
I'm pretty sure he was picked up by the Dodgers after being DFA'd by the
Pirates.
Rays.
Yeah, I think he did get picked up.
Yeah.
No, he went
Did
to the
get picked up?
Dodgers and the Pirates, and then he's a free agent now.
Is he a free agent now?
I mean, he's on this list, so I assume so.
I thought he got claimed.
Is he? Let me know.
Yeah, he's a free agent. He is.
He's a free agent. All right. Yoshi Tsutsugo. 30 seconds. Buy or sell.
Yoshi Tsutsugo, I couldn't really tell you a whole lot about him. I know he likes to hit some dingers at times.
Yeah.
He's been very clutch for the Pirates, and I believe he played for the Rays for like a short time being, but Chi-Man Choi had first base locked down, so they shipped him off to the Pirates. It was a little clutch with the Pirates, honestly. I think he had like one nice clutch week where he had like 2 walk-off homers. Otherwise, there isn't really much to say. I don't see the Mets picking up in a million years because first base is locked down, and I mean, I don't think he's really a DH candidate, so yeah, not much to say.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So
Number
final
80.
one. Frank
Here we go.
about sports.
Oh boy.
Final one.
Give me
Let's see.
Brad Hand.
We need something good here.
Oof. Oh,
Michael.
Do we get a reunion?
No.
Remember, he's better than Zach Wheeler, is what we were told.
yeah. Oh my god.
Oh man. Oh yeah, he was a
Who
Wheeler.
told you
replacement.
that?
All right,
Bring on,
Michael Wacha, fixed by the Rays, man. Oh, he looks good, doesn't he?
Is Rick
Michael
Porcello
Wacha.
on here too?
I don't think so. I'm not sure.
Thanks, Brody.
30 seconds.
All right, so Walker, gosh, he was a tough one because he was not good as a Met. He went to Tampa in typical Tampa fashion. They made him pitch much better. Since he went through Tampa, as long as he follows what he did, he should be an improvement. It's a minor league contract at most if I'm getting Walker. At least he did some bullpen work as a bit of a bulk guy. So Mets could use all the pitching they need, again, in the minors instead of some of the other garbage pitchers we saw make starts this year.
Okay.
Yo, is Jared Eichhoff on this wheel?
I don't think he is. I do
Thank
not think he is. Let me just let me pop this here. All right. And then let's remove this for a second. Okay. So now trying to figure out where I just placed everything. Okay. Cool. All right. So with that, it's time for the closing segment. Everybody's favorite new part of the show, Carson's Criteria. And now I have an intro for this, so it's going to be awesome. Since now
This is new to me.
since we debuted this last week, Elias and Tony were not here, so I'm going to explain how this works to everybody. I give my top 5 of a certain Mets category. Once I'm done, these guys will be able to tear this apart and be their casual eye test weirdo self. Without interrupting, this was a problem last time. Just kidding. So today I will be giving my top 5 worst first round picks in Mets history. Now, since this is a tradition now, I do have an intro to this segment, and I made this morning, and I'm really proud of it. I hope you guys like this. This is good. This is awesome. All right. Ready?
Ricky McCannon.
Come on, man. That's
I was
good.
not
That's
expecting
good.
that.
Come on. Let's be real. That's good.
That's
all right.
That's good. I like it.
All right. Now, let me just switch everything over here. All right.
Let's see.
Now, top 5 worst first round picks in Mets history. I'm just going to make sure this thing is not blocked. Andrew's still dying of laughter. Come on now. It was it's content. Come on now. All right. So here we go. Just trying to set everything up because I don't have 3 monitors. I only have 2. Okay. Now, here we go. I'll wait for, can we wait for anybody? If anybody here, everybody's good. I know.
I mean, I'm here.
Yeah, at least
Okay,
I'll
he's
be
here.
back.
Okay.
All
right. All right. Now, top 5 worst first round picks in Mets history. Now, starting in at number 5, I have Lastings Milich. In 2003, the Mets selected Milich in the 12th overall pick. Now, this one wasn't as bad from draft day since there were no notable players near his projected selection. But Milich, he did play a total of 115 games in 2 seasons with the Mets in 2006 and 2007. In that span, he accumulated a negative .5 FWAR in 391 plate appearances and a 90 WRC plus. He underperformed. It happened. But this guy, he was pretty animated, shall we say. excessively celebrating by high-fiving hundreds of fans after his first career home run, getting into physical confrontations with teammates, releasing a rap music video with loads of insensitive slurs and life-threatening gestures and sexist remarks. This kid was what he was. He was a kid. He just did not know how to grow up. The Mets went on to trade this guy to the Nationals after the 2007 season for Ryan Church and Brian Schneider.
One of the better trades they made.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Milic then went on to be sent to Pittsburgh. He had a short stint with the White Sox and then eventually fizzled out in Tokyo, Japan, and basically became the most ironic name ever given the circumstances. Last name's Milic. He did not last at all. All right, number 4, Chris Roberts. In 1992, the Mets selected Roberts with the 18th overall pick. This guy never played a single MLB game, never signed with the Mets, and played overseas in the Japanese Pacific League. Then he retired in 2001 and became the assistant coach for Stetson University in 2009, just missing the opportunity to coach Jacob deGrom by 1 year, by the way. Now, this isn't that bad, right? I mean, just he didn't sign. It didn't work out. But some notable players selected after him: Johnny Damon, Jason Giambi, and Todd Helton. Yikes. All right. Number 3, Kevin Plawecki.
Ooh.
Yeah, Plawecki. He was
He's a
okay with the
first-round
Mets.
pick.
You could say he was.
I don't think he was first.
Romantic.
I thought he was a second round.
Yeah,
compensation pick.
compensation pick, yeah.
Compensation pick in the first round.
This is
We still count. Go ahead.
This way, it's bad. It's bad. Trust me. You can say Plawecki was okay with the Mets. He's still okay now. But you can also say, maybe he was, romantically adventurous. Yeah, sure. But the story behind this of how the Mets got Kevin Plawecki looks really bad to this day. After the 2011 season, the Mets received a compensation pick in the first round after their former franchise shortstop, Jose Reyes, signed with the Marlins in free agency. That compensation pick was Kevin Plawecki with the 35th overall selection in the compensation round. Plawecki, still a serviceable catcher in baseball, but once again, the players selected after him were just way better. Let me list all of these guys: Steven Piscotty, Mitch Haniger, Joey Gallo, Lance McCullers Jr., Matt Olson, Jesse Winker, Patrick Wisdom. The Mets went on to trade Plawecki in 2019 for Walker Lockett and Sam Haggerty. Both of them not with the Mets right now in present day. Imagine if the Wilpons just did not suck ass and were willing to pay one of the best shortstops at the time. Number 2, Nathan Vineyard. In 2007, the Mets selected Vineyard with the 47th overall pick in the first round of the compensation. It was a compensation pick for an all-star level reliever at the time, Chad Bradford. If that name sounds familiar, he's the submarine pitcher from the infamous 2002 Oakland Athletics Moneyball team. Vineyard only pitched 35.1 innings in a span of 2 seasons in the minors, and he had a terrible ERA in the minors. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Anyway, he was released by the Mets after the 2008 season, never played professional baseball ever again. It was a late first-round pick that didn't have it, but the Mets eventually paid for it. They paid the price right here with the guys who were picked right after him: Josh Donaldson, Freddie Freeman, Giancarlo Stanton, and Ryan Zimmerman. Again, yikes. Now, number 1, Steven Chilcott. If you don't know this guy, this is my most recent video. You probably know it, but the story goes like this. In the second ever MLB draft in 1996, the Mets selected Chilcott with the number 1 overall pick. Now, drafting this catcher didn't really make sense in the beginning, since the Mets already had a fairly young catcher in Jerry Grody emerging at the high level. They also had 2 other high-regarded catching prospects in the minors already. Now, Chilcott never played a single game in the majors. He had multiple injuries, and he could not physically go on after a short stint with the Yankees in their minor league system. He retired after the 1972 season. But here's the worst part. The next player selected in the draft by the Kansas City Athletics was no other than Mr. October, an eventual Hall of Famer, Reggie Jackson. Of course, the Mets got their first championship in 1969, but Reggie Jackson could have got them more. He could have made them a dynasty. So here are my top 5 worst first-round picks of all time in New York Mets history. What do you guys think? Is there anybody that I can add to this list? I know MLB draft is a little bit it's a little fuzzy because it's not really doesn't have that big of an entertainment value compared to the NFL, but I'm sure we all remember those Mets draft picks that were really, really bad. Frank, would you like to start us off? Anybody you want to add?
Yeah, I would go Gavin Cicchini over Kevin Plawecki. Only because, like we said, Plawecki is the only guy that's still in the league, and I could see him being in the league for a pretty long time. I mean, he's an okay player. Yes, obviously the players picked after him are much better, but I feel like that happens not only to the Mets, but when you think of how late the draft was, that's the fault on every team. I mean, because all those guys should have been drafted higher. So I wouldn't just single out the Mets. And Plawecki's just like a solid player. I mean, even in the playoffs for the Red Sox, he got a good share of playing time. So if you're a guy that is a catcher and you're getting good about playing time in the postseason for a team like the Red Sox, I think you're a pretty solid player. So other than Gavin Cicchini, he's like completely out of the league. So I really wouldn't put Plawecki on this list.
I have him on here just mainly because of the time that he came in and then the time we're in now. I mean, this is pretty much like 4 years later, I'm pretty sure, from his rookie year. He's not on this team anymore. The guys we traded for him, the guy we traded him away to, what was it? What did we trade it to?
Cicchini was cut. No,
guys that are not even here anymore either. So it just did not.
Plawecki was traded to Cleveland.
Work out.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
And not to mention, this was a pick from Jose Reyes, a guy who was here for a long time. That's what I saw. Gavin Cicchini was a consideration. He was a consideration for this one.
And the Cicchini pick hurts more because the next shortstop on the board was Corey Seager.
That is true. Yes.
Yeah. Were there any other catchers though that were picked around that time period? Plawecki was picked. Because man, that's what the Mets were focused on.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. What was this? 2000.
Could have been JT Realmuto.
Yeah, he was another guy who was picked very late.
About the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could have been. I don't know.
What was Realmuto drafted?
Realmuto's probably got drafted earlier.
Yeah, it might be a little earlier.
He was a pain in the ass.
Mets had a really fast, ramp up to the MLB level with the Marlins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe there were like 2 other catchers that were taken
They still
after him.
Would you have him to McCann? Noah loved him.
No comment.
Yeah, I think.
Trying to see.
Noah put him over Darno, who just won the World Series as starting catcher.
Yeah, remember that tandem?
Yeah. No,
they also had Darno too, right? When was Dickey traded? When was Dickey traded?
2011. After 2011.
2013. After his Cy Young season in 2012.
Yep.
So they took Plawecki, and then so that makes it probably even worse. Great.
Because they already had Darno.
You don't draft because of position. You draft the best player available.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why, the best player available. And that's the reason why,
Unless you have like a Mike Trout and 3 other great outfielders.
The guys taken right behind him. I mean, those were, and they were projected in that realm, like late first round. That's where they were projected. And the Mets went that direction. That's like where I'm going. So, yeah, of course, there's a fault of everybody else, every team. But, that's kind of how I say it. Tony, I know you've got some random Mets up your sleeve sometimes. Anybody you'd add here?
I wanted to stay current. So I'm going to give you 3 names and just quick bio on them, little bio. But I remember Reese Havens, and that was in 2008. And I just remember hearing about this guy on MetsBlog.com for like 4 years. Reese Havens is hitting 299 at AAA, and I was so excited. I don't know if he ever reached the MLB level. That was frustrating.
No,
the next one, Eddie Coons, relief pitcher. He's supposed to be a starter. Never really made it to the MLB level. That was tough. And then the next one, I would say, but he doesn't count for one reason. Philip Humber, who I believe threw a perfect game for the White Sox, or if not, at least a no-hitter for them. But he doesn't count because he was a part of the trade for Johan Santana. So while he was with the Twins, he wasn't all too great. My pick, 2001, first round, Aaron Heilman.
My
and it's literally because of the results that came after it. Not because he was a bust, not because he went on and had success elsewhere. 2006, I will never forget crying on the couch as I was about 11 years old after Yadi Molina took him deep and the Mets ended up losing Game 7 of the NLCS. So Aaron Heilman, the worst first overall pick for the Mets in their history.
He definitely caused the most pain.
Most pain, no doubt.
Tony, that hurt. Tony, that hurt bringing up Reese Havens because I had so many of his top first Bowman rookie cards. So that hurts. That just felt like a personal dig at me. It's not, but it felt that way. But yeah, you could. Havens is a good one. Cool. Why is Tony got to? I mean, this is what I mean. We need a year off. Because
every week I went on to MetsBlog.com.
And Reese Havens was
Reese Havens,
facts.
Future second baseman. Reese Havens is hitting 350.
Was he taken in the first round?
Yeah. No wait. Yeah. This guy was.
I don't think he ever played an MLB game.
I don't think he. But he was also in the dark ages. So did the Mets ever give him like a game or two? Like.
Let's see.
I thought I saw him made his debut because I got hype and then he didn't do it.
Anybody else got somebody that would switch out or
Kumar Rocker?
Throw Kumar Rocker in there. Yeah.
Kumar Rocker was considered. He was here.
Rocker never got a chance to play, and I mean, I think they said that Rocker's going to be.
It was bad though.
But he's going to be in next year's draft probably.
Yeah, he will.
In the future, from a Mets perspective, it could look bad that they didn't sign him.
Oh yeah.
I have a beautiful video idea if Kumar Rocker gets selected by. So, yeah.
Draft him next year in like the third round.
Yeah,
Cardinals.
Rocker,
can you please draft him, please?
I had Reese Haven, but I think he was scratched early. I went from basically the circumstance of who was picked like after him because you take the best player available. I also went with how their career went on compared to the guys they passed on, and that was pretty much it. I went first round, not just draft picks, because obviously there was literally like 60 rounds back then. So that's basically where I went. But the Mets have had some good drafting in the first round. Shout out to Sandy Alderson. He is so good, isn't he? But anyway,
how many better players were drafted after Conforto?
None.
And Dom Smith.
What is it? Like 20?
What about Nemo?
Nemo, probably some better guys than Nemo. Let's be frank about it.
Let's be Rhino about it.
Should be Rhino about it. Just charge through the actual truth. Wasn't like Davis a first round pick too? I'm just trying
we like
to go
Ike.
back. We like Ike. I'm like, okay. Think of Bowman cards you have.
Like Ike? Who wants to be like Ike, man?
I like Ike.
We all know nobody's better than Brett Beatty. He's gonna be the best player in this draft, so I don't have to worry about that. PCA, it's still too early for those guys.
Let's see. What was Conforto was
2014 because they fast tracked in 2015.
Who's 2017 first?
He was just so major league ready and so good.
Oh, who's in 2017? Was that Dom?
Yeah. No, Dom was 2013.
Yeah, Dom was way before that.
Okay.
Let's see. Who was taken after Michael Conforto?
Matt Allen was he was a third round pick, right?
Yeah, Matt Allen.
Yeah.
He's
Deserve
Bradley
money.
Zimmer. Oh
Yeah.
God.
Hey,
Oh, no.
the Royals' top prospect that they always tell me is
Not
going to pan out.
Bradley Zimmer. Oh shit.
Okay,
Oh no.
Frank,
Wait,
you'll get some
Matt
actual better play.
Chapman.
There you
Oh,
go.
damn it.
Wait, Bradley Zimmer was
God
our.
damn
our
it,
Let's
we're
play
gonna
some
have
team with
time
David
to go.
Peterson.
David forget
Oh,
David
right,
Peterson was
right,
a first round pick.
He's
And then
still
Kellen
got-
Not as a first round pick.
Oh, yeah, we forget. We throw those guys away. Those guys didn't
Yeah.
happen.
Jack Flaherty was
That's a good
taken.
pitcher. That's an elite pitcher right there. Good MLB the show card.
Michael Chavis. Oh crap. Cole
Cole
Tucker.
Davis isn't that good.
Oh man.
Cole Tucker's terrible. I don't get the hype on him.
He's got a nice swing.
I
man.
thought the Michael Fulmer pick was only worth it because they got Cespedes.
Yeah, Cespedes out of it. Yeah.
But as far as his actual career,
He won a rookie of the year. I mean, come on.
yeah, and then after that.
But now he's a good closer. I mean, he's a closer now. He's
All
actually
right.
doing pretty nice in closer role.
Yeah.
He also had
I
Tommy
know.
John surgery, and he's never been the same since.
Very
he
true.
was pretty
Oh,
good.
Fulmer.
I mean, Matt
I mean, he
Harvey,
would've
you
been
can throw him in
I
that
think,
pitch.
either way, but
Well, no, Harvey had his really, really good run.
Exactly. I'm just, looking with Rhino
Harvey
eyes.
won Tommy John.
Who's
All right.
Yeah, there you go. There's your rants.
Yeah. Speaking of Michael Fulmer, by the way, rest in peace to Pedro Feliciano. By the way.
How do you? I'm like, how are you?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
If you guys don't know that story, I love stories, guys. I'm sorry.
You're a
Pedro
fucking nerd.
Feliciano. Michael Fulmer was the compensation pick for him. Michael Fulmer traded for Cespedes, so the Mets probably would not have made the World Series in 2015 without Pedro Feliciano. That's crazy. Isn't that nuts?
And one guy
And,
as
he
far as
passed
they
away
did
recently.
about Feliciano.
Yep.
He was huge.
Mhm.
Really good man, really good pitcher. Loved watching him. Sad he went so young. It's
Yeah.
really
I know
Also-
someone who actually met him two months ago. I know somebody on Twitter met him 2 months ago.
Yeah, he was
Well,
at
that's
some Mets
crazy.
thing. Fans met him.
I don't want
That's
to
insane.
speculate, but I saw a picture of him recently, and he was jacked. And
Yeah, he looked good. Yeah, he looks.
I kind of wonder if maybe he was using some substances that maybe weren't good for your heart and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. It's just to be 45 and die. It was a heart attack, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, died in his
Steroids.
sleep.
delete
Yeah, he just died in his sleep.
that.
It's crazy.
Anyway, RIP. Sounds
Yeah.
like a great guy, and he was a great Met.
It seems like every year we're losing somebody from the Mets, the Mets, fandom or the Mets, family, shall we say? It's crazy.
Tom Seaver
Yeah, Seaver.
was probably the biggest.
That was tough, man.
Yeah. Anyway.
How do you end that?
How do you know to end that
Yeah,
on?
let's talk about the
We've been
lockout.
over the 2 hour mark,
Yeah.
guys. So if you guys spent the entire time watching us, you're cool, man. You're cool. It's gonna be crazy going all the way up to the CBA expiring. We're gonna have a lot of content out amongst the 6 of us. Big things coming out. Keep your eye out for that. I'll let these guys plug whatever they need to plug. And yeah, we'll be on our way, and we'll see you guys next week. Frank About Sports, we'll start with you.
Yep, there's gonna be a lot of videos coming. Hopefully, the Mets make some moves in November before the lockout happens, so I can have some videos out before the lockout. So definitely stay tuned for that. Going to try to react to a lot of the craziness going on in the off season, and if there is something big with the negotiations, I'm probably gonna make videos about that. Don't have much of another choice. So thank you for having me. Let's go Mets. Make some smart moves. Hire some people. Stop being a laughingstock, please.
It would be nice, wouldn't it? Mets talk with Hayden.
What's going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden is the name. Raging is the game. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys would like to watch me out, I would very much appreciate it. Live streams, videos on news, predictions, updates, all that stuff. The off season is here, so for the next month it's kind of quiet, but then obviously probably the next 2-3 weeks it's going to be very hectic with free agency, so we'll be having a lot of stuff about that. Let's go Mets, and that's all I got.
All right, Rhino.
Yeah. Again, Rhino Hours seems to be the only thing I can do. We'll have some AEW, some All Elite Rhino content coming out this weekend. And again, once the lockout probably happens, there'll be more MLB The Show content, maybe some Madden, maybe 2K, maybe some NHL. So it'll be the Rhino Gaming at this point. Maybe we'll have some content creators. Maybe some Mets Weekly guys will take some challenges against the Rhino, but that'll be down the line. But again, just pretty much Rhino hour, and again, let's see the lockout. Can't wait to have some peace and quiet next year.
All right, Tony Metro.
Yeah, you guys should definitely subscribe because I'm gonna beat All Elite Rhino in Madden or the show or 2K, FIFA.
Hey, somebody wants a challenge. There we go.
Hey, Mike White versus Daniel Jones. Let's see it happen.
Yeah, well, we know. Come on, Mike White.
Mike White. Mike effing White.
But yeah, guys, check out my channel. Like I said in the beginning of the stream, my favorite time of baseball for YouTube purposes is during the off season. I love the rumors. I love, making videos about, who fits where. So definitely check out my channel. I'll be posting a lot more. I've been a little inconsistent lately. And thank you so much for watching.
All right. And to play us out here, Elias, the missing man recently.
Yeah, really happy to be back, at least for this. I don't know how definitive it is, but appreciate you guys having me like always. Big Up Bench of Media is a channel name. I used to be the call-in guy. Hopefully I get back to that soon in the future. Collins, you already know. But yeah, just Mets Jets content. Mets mock off season 3.0 coming soon, hopefully. Yeah, kind of been slacking with the uploads, but haven't we all? Big Up Bench of Media is a channel. Hope to see you guys there.
Yep, we're all slacking with uploads, but hey, we're here every week. Most of us are.
As I say, nah.
Most of us are, but we're giving out content the way that we can. Hopefully, we can get more out for you guys during this crazy off season that is about to go crazy. That's crazy. So yeah, that's about it for episode number 34 of Mets Weekly. 35 will be next because yet again, numbers. I've said this before. And we'll see you guys next time. Let's go Mets.
Can I say one quick thing before we end?
Go ahead.
Change my freaking name, man.
35 is my favorite number because Pete Alonso had a very special home run on 35. Swing and a drive to left. That one's going to go to Pete Alonso. Home run. Clutch. Yeah. And Andrew knows what I'm talking about. My ringtone.
Yeah, the against the elite Miami Marlins. But...
Here, hold on. It was a great. Wayne Randazzo really.
Yeah. As we end the broadcast right now, we'll see you guys.